Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our broadcast of 3C2A action here tonight from your Moorpark Raiders versus the Bakersfield Renegades, who are now visiting for our homecoming game tonight. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon wherever you are. I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Ketchum and Nathan Espinoza, and we're looking for a very, very exciting game tonight. It's going to be featuring one team that is 4-1, the Renegades, and a struggling Raiders team who is now 2-3 on the season after playing against two highly ranked teams, Long Beach City College and Fullerton City College. Which brings us to our first talking point. Ryan, how do you feel about the Raiders coming into this game, especially against the Bakersfield, who's been playing very well, and against the Raider team that's somewhat struggled at times?
I think that the Raiders should do just fine tonight. Jordan Flack, number 43, star defensive end, alongside James Perryman, number 10, also star defensive end for us. They are both back in action. They had a little, minor injuries last game, but they are fully ready to go against this team. Also, the quarterback from the other team, he has thrown 3 interceptions this season, so I think our defensive backs can just eat them up all night.
Yeah, a big talking point here of the night is that we get TJ Newborn and Jordan Flack back this week. Jordan Flack being our number 1 defensive end on the team alongside James Perryman. They've been wreaking a lot of havoc in the backfield for the Raiders this year. Nathan, how do you feel about this Raiders offense coming against a somewhat struggling Renegade defense?
You know, I'm really excited to see them out there. Number one, I'm always happy to see Isaiah Johnson on the field. Watching Isaiah out there warming up, he looks ready to go. This Bakersfield defense has struggled in these last couple of games against run. So as long as they can keep feeding Isaiah the ball, hopefully they can move this ball up the field. We have a couple guys, like you said, coming back. Add into that list, we're also going to have TJ Newborn back on for offense. So just providing a lot of options for Cato is going to be the key, I think, to really put Bakersfield on their back tonight.
Yeah, the Raiders coming off of a bye week this week. Their last competition was against Fullerton City College, which didn't give them much room to play, Fullerton being one of the highest ranked teams in California and in the United States. Yeah. They purely showed their class out there, but the Raiders did show one shining star in the game, and I would have to absolutely give it, if you're going to give the most valuable player award in that game, it was Gavin Todd nailing a 47-yard field goal. So his special teams is starting to get a lot better here for the Raiders, so hopefully that is a good chance for them to be able to take advantage of the situation.
Absolutely, and along with that, TJ Newborn coming back. We missed him a lot last week. He's a big special teams player. You can count on him receiving the punt returns, receiving kick returns, just getting it done either way on the field. And so having him on the field next to DJ again will be a nice touch for the Raiders.
Yeah, Ryan, next thing I wanted to talk about was how do you feel about DJ Farmer? And you have that relationship that they've had on kick return and punt return. Yes. How do you feel about finally them getting back together and being able to play together once again?
I think they're just, of course, an explosive duo. DJ Farmer, he was actually matched up with Ray Thomas in the back return game, number 25 in the last game because TJ was out. But him and TJ, they're just dynamic. Both of them kind of play almost the same style. They're both quick. They're both, undersized. And that actually gives them a chip on their shoulder, and they just run amok on this team, on any team. All the kick returns, they always get it past the 25-yard line, so past that the touchback mark. So look to see them having some big damage. Maybe even Bakersfield are going to kick some onside kicks or some squib kicks to try to slow them down.
Yeah, to dive even deeper, I was going to say if we're going to go towards the defensive side of things, it would be very interesting to see how the Raiders are going to play. They've always been a high press coverage team. They like to bring their guys inside of the box and really challenge the quarterback to throw the ball. Against a quarterback for Bakersfield who really hasn't had the best of years, he's only thrown for roughly 900 yards in his 5 games so far this season. So it'll be interesting to see how the Raiders defense, especially with the addition of Jordan Flack in this game, how they're going to be able to counter that. How do you feel about our offense lining against their defense, which seems to our offense is a heavily running offense based around the dynamic duo of Cato Brown and Isaiah Johnson. A defense that we've watched, or at least I watched last year in their competition, who was really, really strong in the pass rush. How do you think that's going to line up against the Raiders this year?
I think we are going to play great tonight. Of course, you mentioned the heavy run offense. Isaiah Johnson, he is just great. And he actually has over 300 yards rushing in these 5 games, which is second in all of California and all of junior colleges. So he has been great out there this season. And also with Cato Brown, look to see them passing it much more tonight, because the previous matchups against the best teams in California, they have had bigger secondary. They've had a much larger secondary. This team, they're a little bit undersized for Bakersfield. So look for Emmanuel Osachukwu to get a lot of catches. Ryan Wilmore, number 83. Look for a big passing game tonight.
Ryan Wilmore had a lot of catches last week. I know you commented on it, Nathan. It was almost amazing to see a guy who really has been kind of a subtle talking point here all of a sudden become a big star in this Raiders offense.
Absolutely. He's earned his touches. Every single week we see him out there. He's getting more and more targets his way. It's as long as he keeps catching the ball, I see him progressing, and I see them throwing the ball more to him, and he's going to have a lot more of a productive game as long as they keep that up. We'll be able to shoot it back to you, though.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to wrap up our Mike Stewart pregame show, brought to you in part by the California Army National Guard. I'm your host, Emery Johnson, alongside Ryan Ketchum and Nathan Espinoza.
We'd like to thank the Moorpark College Associated Students.
Cool.
See them leading our student section Black Hole and passing out spirit gear. Make sure you get your hands on some Raider t-shirts and pom-poms so you can cheer on your team with Moorpark College.
Can I like update that? Oh my gosh, I love that. Emily, go for it. Right here. No, actually. And put one behind there. Yay! So cute. I love that. Stay there, stay there. Don't give me one.
This pregame coverage has been brought to you in part by Boost Mobile. Great devices for the right price. UCLA Health. It begins with you. Luminary Photo. Photos today, memories forever. Firehouse Subs. The hero of all subs. And finally, the California National Guard. What it takes, mind, body, and grit. Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Emery Johnson, alongside Ryan Ketchum. We're finally sitting here in the booth, 17 minutes left until kickoff. It's our homecoming, and it seems like there's quite a few people here actually today.
Yes, it does seem like it. Of course, we're still a pretty good amount of time, about 17 minutes away from kickoff, but there is a pretty good amount of fans here. Bakersfield, they usually travel pretty well. Of course, they have about 3,500 people at all their home games, so they do travel well.
Yeah, they do travel well. Sometimes it can make it feel like you're not even going to get a home field advantage in some situations, but obviously that won't be the case here tonight if we are able to pack out the house, which it looks like there's quite a few people out here. So we're going to go back to what we were talking about earlier in the pregame coverage. I really want to talk about the Raiders' offense because I think that's been a huge talking point so far this season. So many different things have been going into it. Sometimes you really feel like we're a throwing offense, and then other times you really feel like you're going to be a running offense. And I think the addition of Isaiah Johnson back into the field of play has really changed the dynamic of how the Raiders are playing.
Yes, and we're using him everywhere. Of course, he has actually during this season he has had a great season. He has 330 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. Both the 5 touchdowns and 330 yards rushing is second in all of California. So he has just been running amok on all defenses. And Cato Brown, he has not had the greatest season. Of course, it's pretty big competition that he's been going against with some great defenses. But he has been able to light it up against some of the competition. 612 yards, 3 touchdowns. The only mark that would be a little bad for us, I guess, is those 4 interceptions that we see. But against their offense, their quarterback, Dalton Gallis, number 5, he has 3 interceptions on the season. So he has been turning the ball over a lot.
You really have to look into the situation, too, of some of the – obviously there's no interception that's really acceptable, if you will. But a lot of times I feel as if you look into the situation of a couple of the interception, at least they were in last ditch efforts at the very end of a game, and it really didn't affect the overall outcome all too much. However, you can probably argue against that in the El Camino game that they played. It was one of those situations where there is no win or loss. You can go for it or you can choose to kick the ball with 15 seconds left on the clock. Do you want to take the chance of giving them another chance at offense? However way you look at it, it's always a tough call to make, and I really want to bring that point up. Cato really hasn't been the best, though, like you're saying, through the air. His percentage is way down. I believe it's 49% this year, and that's a huge talking point because last year he was really able to sling it. Actually, now that I see it, it's 55.7% of completion rate, which, it's much better if you're looking more in the 60s. But like I said, it changed the dynamic last year when he was able to run and gun, if you will, and hit a lot of his other targeted receivers. Last year they had Aaron Lacombe. They had a lot of other weapons that they could count on, and hopefully now that we're watching the emergence of Ryan Wilmore and Emmanuel Asachukwu coming together to play together, this Raiders throwing offense will be much more deadly, if you will.
Yes, exactly. 83, Ryan Wilmore, as you said. He has been a star wide receiver in the past few games. Last week against Fullerton, he had basically as many targets as all the other wide receivers, Emmanuel Asachukwu, all those wide receivers that are the main men that Cato Brown look for. Ryan Wilmore is establishing himself and becoming one of the main guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was against Long Beach City College. I was on sideline reporting duty, and I think he jumped up and over a cornerback who was trying to cover him, and he made this catch where he was all sprawled out up in the air with his hands straight up, and he just got it at his fingertips and came down with it. He's had a couple big catches like that where he's able to come down with the ball. It's the Raiders' offense has been just so dynamic this year, and I'm really excited to watch how they're going to attack this defense from Bakersfield.
Yes, I'm excited as well. And as I mentioned in the pregame show, the defensive backs are a little bit undersized for the Bakersfield team, the Renegades. They're not as big as we've seen from Fullerton or Long Beach City College. So look for them to be trying to sling it with Cato Brown. Of course, we do have some tall wide receivers. Emmanuel Osachukwu is 6'3", but as you mentioned, Ryan Wilmore, 6'1", 195 pounds, but he has that athleticism, as you mentioned, jumping over basically a defensive back. So he adds a different dimension to their offense.
So it is homecoming tonight, and in the spirit of homecoming, we're going to send it down to the field if we can pick up this audio from the president of the school. Well, okay, never mind. We cannot hear it. You know, things happen. But nonetheless, we are going to be breaking for the national anthem sooner than later, and the people in Moorpark College Athletics have actually done a really big task, which is our in-game sponsor tonight is the California National Guard. We've gotten a giant flag, not quite field size like you see in the NFL, but a giant flag nonetheless that we're going to watch spread out on the field for national anthem. You know, the overall atmosphere here at the stadium is quite nice this evening. It's going to be. You know, it's interesting. You know, does homecoming the addition of homecoming for this season, was that going to give the Raiders a little more to play for here? I don't know. I mean, in high school, at least if you're in high school for high school football, you always know, how homecoming games really seem to get the best out of you. It'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yes, it will be. And it seems like with that big flag, it's about a 30-yard flag, it looks like. And they are very ready to go for this game. Of course, you see also a California National Guard member in the middle of the flag representing.
Tonight is a special night thanks to the California Army National Guard entering the field, as you can see. There are representatives.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop down to the field, and we're going to give it away for the national anthem. Once again, I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Catchum. We'll catch you after the national anthem, and we'll be ready for kickoff.
Which has been provided by the California Army National Guard. As they walk onto the field, please stand and honor America. And when the flag is unfolded, Moorpark College student Betty Jean Hanna will sing the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Moorpark College student Betty Jean Hanna. college student Betty Jean Hanna. And on behalf of Moorpark College Athletics, we want to express thanks to the oldest branch of the U.S. military.
What a performance that was.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Always does a good job here at Griffin Stadium. So, in the spirit of homecoming, we finally get to see the cheerleaders in their actual uniforms. Finally, they're able, again, the resurgence of a cheerleading program that has finally been brought back after 10 years of being dormant, which is nice for them. You know, it's interesting enough, you know, you never see it in the junior college level. And you'd always wonder why that is, but I don't know. Is that an interesting talking point to cover here? I mean, it's interesting because you wouldn't think about it, but cheerleaders are almost never seen at the junior college level.
There's also almost like a mental factor of it when you have not just your fans, not just your family representing you and cheering you on, but you also have a cheerleader base as well. And maybe, I guess, looked upon as a small piece of a football game, but when you actually have the more and more people cheering for you, the people that you see in your classrooms, the people that you see out in public just cheering for you, it I guess motivates you a little more. And when they have the school colors, the school uniform on, it just gets you going a little bit more and makes you want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, the Raiders have a big task in front of them, and most importantly, to get back even with their record.
Yes.
And, you know, to go 1-0 in conference, because it is the beginning of conference 3C2A Northern Division play now, and it is, you know, it's very important that they can do this so that they can
They unplugged us. They unplugged us. Did they unplug us?
I just lost. Can you check my power strip to make sure it's functioning okay?
Green cord's in.
It's green cord and it's power strip.
Yeah, power strip's powered up.
Hello, hello.
Well, it's back up.
We're back up.
Yeah.
What was that about?
I don't know. That was weird.
Did you guys lose power?
No.
That's plugged in.
Yeah, it's plugged in. That was weird.
Maybe just because they use some stuff instead of like showing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I think these people did. Oh, yes? They just plugged out. They just plugged some more stuff in.
Yeah, I just got hard.
I know. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We have a little bit of technical difficulties regarding our power situation here. All of a sudden, our microphones went dead and we lost all power. Luckily, we're still here in broadcasting. You know, going back to what I was saying before we cut away from you guys, it was, you know, the Raiders have a big task in front of them. It's 3C2A Northern Division play that's going to be happening tonight, you know, between two teams that have seen enough of each other over the last decade to know that there is a rivalry of some sort, not quite the level of Raiders, Pirates, Ventura, Moorpark, but a good rivalry nonetheless. And, you know, any little advantage that they can get here in this game is going to help them immensely.
Yes, any advantage you could get as an athlete, when you look in the eyes of an athlete, just any advantage you could have, any people cheering for you, any special events that go on before a game, it just motivates you and makes you want to play harder, makes you want to play tougher, and we should definitely look out for Isaiah Johnson to be able to do that.
Yeah, Isaiah Johnson is, I mean, absolute tank, if you will, of a player. You know, he's the kind of guy who runs downhill. He has a very violent running style. He hits with intent, if you will. I don't think there's any person out there on the field who wants to square up one-on-one with this guy because he's going to run you over. I don't care how big you are. I think I saw a guy against when they were playing against Fullerton at Long Beach who tried to just take him one-on-one, and he lowered his shoulder, lowered his head, and just hit him to the ground and kept running.
Yep.
It took a team of a couple guys to bring him down. You know, that's a huge part. You know, that's the kind of person who can spark your offense to run a lot harder throughout the game, especially in the ailing moments.
And especially with him being 6 foot, 208 pounds, that's a lot of mass on, you know, not as big of a body. So he has a big muscle mass, which just lets him truck those defenders, as you were mentioning against Fullerton. He trucked that one defensive back because he thought he could take him one-on-one, but Isaiah Johnson, he's just an animal out there. Like you mentioned, he's a tank.
Yeah, you know, I guess you said it all there. I mean, he is in every single facet of the word tank that you can use. So the captains are out on the center of the field choosing which side they want to go. We'll see how the Raiders ended up picking. The Raiders, or whoever won the coin toss, I believe deferred. I think it was the Raiders who won because they're the ones who were calling the shots there.
And also something about Isaiah Johnson. When you look at him play, they have the offensive line. They're very good at making holes for him. And Isaiah Johnson, like when you look at the running back position, all you need to see is one hole. All you need to see is one hole to burst through, and that's what Isaiah Johnson does. He does that, and then with his speed, not just his strength, he's also speedy. So a tank, he's the tank with the strength, but he's almost like somebody from the cat family, you know, like a leopard or something. He is very quick, he's very agile, and is able to get through the secondary into the end zone, and he's done that a lot this year. 5 touchdowns, as we mentioned.
So that was the Renegades on the top left and the top of your screen now, who just had taken the field. And now you see the Raiders taking a knee, getting their heads right for what is a very big game ahead of them. It'll be exciting to see them finally take the field, and here they come.
Yes, here comes the Raiders, and as you mentioned about kneeling and trying to get their minds right, that is something that you need to do, get in that mental mindset. Some people like to stay with their own, listen to music, stay quiet. Some people like to be around others, but just for the whole team to stay calm and know that this game, they just need to go out and play Moorpark Raider football.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it gets your head in the right place. And, you know, before the game, before everything happens, it's right to be on your own or whatever you need to do to get ready. But once it's game time and everyone's on the field, it's important that you guys bond as a team and get ready to go as you see them jumping up and down, chanting, and here come the Raiders running onto the field.
And you see TJ Newborn, number 6, wearing all pink, representing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. He has been a great athlete. First game back, missed the Fullerton game, so he's going to be definitely ready for tonight.
So like I said before, the Raiders had won the coin toss and have deferred to kick first and receive the ball at halftime. Out to kick the ball will be Gavin Todd, our true kicker. You saw him bomb a 47-yarder last 2 weeks ago against Fullerton City College. Now out to get the kick from Todd is going to be number 1, their number 1 man over with the Renegades, Derek Vickers, and number 17, Jaquel Tomlin. Both of them wide receivers, but both of them having dual roles in this team on every facet. I wouldn't be surprised to see Derek Vickers. He was confirmed with 25 yards almost every time he gets a kick return or gets his hands on the ball after a kick or a punt. So it'll be interesting to see if he's the one who's going to end up grabbing the ball. And here comes the kick. It's going to be Vickers who's going to take the ball around the 15-yard line, going at the far sideline. He's going to be hit once, but he's going to work his way up to the 40. He's going to be brought down by a handful of Raiders after a gain of a lot of yards on that play. He's at the 41.
As you mentioned, about 25 yards each kickoff return. He had more than 25 yards on that one.
Absolutely,
yes.
More yards on that play than he's averaging. The Raiders not being able to swallow him up, but on the field you have James Perryman. I don't see our number 1 defensive end, Jordan Flack, on the field quite yet, but nonetheless, here we go. And there's going to be flags on the field.
It looks like they were trying to run a hard count, trying to get the Raiders off an encroachment penalty.
And it looks like the penalty was successful for them.
Number 51 of the defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
In at the helm for the Renegades is number 5, Dalton Gallus. It's going to be first and 5 now from the Renegades 46-yard line. Gallus is going to have his running back number 11. That's Ferguson Ayers. It's going to hand it off to Ayers, who's going to be up to the far sideline, but he's going to be brought down after a gain of 2 yards. It's now going to be second and what looks to be 3.
Something that's great that you don't see too much from other teams is the sideline will yell run or pass when they see that play transforming.
Gallus is playing out of the pistol. You got to watch out for Vickers, who's going to be towards the near sideline, number 1. He's playing almost out of the slot here. Pistol formation being the preferable formation here, now going out of the gun. Gallus takes a snap back, looking downfield. He's going to hit his receiver, the slot receiver. That's That's Vickers, who's very hard to bring down. He gets a gain of another 2 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 1 now on the play. Like you said, he fights for yards. He definitely does not go down easily. He had a one-on-one and was still able to break the 1 tackle and fight through 2, but he only got 2 yards on the gain.
He is 6 foot, 196 pounds, just like Isaiah Johnson, with the strength as well as the athleticism.
He's going to be out to the far, he's not on the field anymore. Ayers is going to be playing on the far sideline, and it's going to be out of the Wildcat formation, and that's going to be Vickers, who's playing out of Wildcat, but he's going to try and get the first down, and he does after a gain of 4 on the play. It's now going to be 1st and 10 from the Raiders' own 46-yard line, so moving the chains 10 yards.
Yeah, Vickers with having 297 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns. He does like to run that Wildcat offense, so you will be seeing that a lot.
Raiders defense trying to find some sort of way to stop the ball here. Gallus is going to be playing out a pistol again. Takes a snap back, hands it off to Ayer. And Ayers is going to be brought down after a gain of 3. He's coming towards the near sideline, was brought down. In on the tackle, James Perryman, and number 8 for the Raiders, that was Marcus Johnson, the linebacker.
With Vickers, as I was mentioning about that Wildcat offense, when you're a running back, you like to see all of the holes that present themselves, and when you're in the shotgun, almost in the quarterback position with the Wildcat, you can just see everything. You can see a mile down the field.
2nd and 7 from the Raiders 43. He has Vickers on the near sideline looking downfield. Fires and hits his receiver. That's number 17. Down to the far sideline. That's a first down, and he's brought down after a gain of a lot of yards, over 15 on that play. That was Jaquel Tomlin with the reception. He had no coverage on that play.
And you mentioned that was a big gain. He has 17 yards per reception this season, Jaquel Tomlin.
Gallus still out of pistol. Has a 4 wide out spread. Takes a snap back, and they're going to hand it off. That's number 2, their fullback, Lemeshio Hill. He's going to be in there with a gain of 4 yards.
Johnson on the tackle, Hill the ball carrier.
They're gaining a lot of yards. He's marked as a running back, but Lemeshio Hill looks more like a fullback with his size.
6 feet, 210 pounds. He looks like a fullback to me.
A little bit wider of a build than Isaiah Johnson, if you will.
Almost Jerome Bettis-X.
Takes a snap back. It's another run. And Lemeshio Hill was up there with another gain of 2 yards. It's now 3rd and 3. The Raiders have another chance to stop him here on 3rd down. We'll see what they did. The last time they're faced with a 3rd down situation, they went out of the Wildcat, but they're going to have Vickers on the near sideline. Excuse me, he's going to be playing out of the slot. They have their other receiver, number 17, Jaquel Tomlin. Those are your 2 targeted receivers. And it's going to be a pass play to Tomlin. Fires, almost drops the ball, but he's able to hold on to it. It is a first down, and the Renegades have the ball down all the way to the 13-yard line.
Durden on the stoppage. That is a Bakersfield first down.
Vickers this season has 33 receptions when Jaquel Tomlin has 20 receptions. So when we say watch out for those star wide receivers, that's what we mean.
Yeah, they share the workload quite well here in Bakersfield. Gallus marching down the field, has a delay snap count. He has his running back Lemeshio Hill on the field, and it's going to be Vickers out to the far sideline. And they're going to have their trusted wide receiver, Jaquel Tomlin, on the near sideline. It's a passing play. He's going to be trying to fire over the middle, trying to find the end zone, and it's going to be an incomplete pass. In on the coverage for the Raiders, that's number 32.
Incomplete brings up a 2nd and 10.
Yes, that was Brett Herron.
Brett Herron, the linebacker who came out. Could almost be considered a defensive back, but he's a big dude, so listed as a linebacker. It's now 2nd and 10 after the throwing attempt to the end zone. Raiders need to come up big here with a red zone stop. Gallus going to be playing out of the gun now, has his 4 wide out spread once again. He has Vickers on the near sideline. He's going to be looking downfield, misses his first read. He's going to be under pressure, and that's James Perryman on the back of Dalton Gallus with a huge sack, a loss of what looks to be 7 yards on the play. It's going to be 3rd and real long here. James Perryman with a huge stop. The Raiders defense, it all started with Dalton Gallus missing his first read.
Brings up a 3rd and 16.
Yes, James Perryman, one of the star defensive players. He actually has 1 sack this season, so his second one just right now.
Dalton Gallus. He's out of the gun once again, and he has Vickers in motion. Takes a snap back, looking downfield. They have their receivers moving. It's going to be Vickers with the ball. He has a lot of space, but he has 2 Raiders in front of him. He's going to be hit and brought down. The play is going to be called dead after a gain of over 10 on the play, and it's going to be at the Raiders' 9-yard line. We'll see what they choose to do, and it's going to be the special teams unit coming out onto the field.
When you're trying to tackle a guy like Vickers, it almost seemed like the defense, they were doing exactly what they were supposed to do. They had 2 guys trying to tackle him. That's what you need to guard both sides of him so he cannot escape with his athleticism and his elusiveness.
To kick for the Renegades is number 9, Jacob Young. Most of the guys on this team, he's out of Bakersfield Liberty High School, and it's going to be a muffed snap. And that is, the play's still going to be going. He's going to throw to the end zone, and it's going to be an incomplete pass. There's no field goal. There's no points on the board at all. What a great play by the Raiders defense to continue with the play and make sure that they don't get any points. The Raiders now pinned within their own 10-yard line, but nonetheless,
almost a risky play there.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been easily picked off in that sense. I don't know why you would continue to try and play the ball. At least get it up as far as you can so that the Raiders don't get good field position. But nonetheless, he tried to roll out and pass it, but that did not work out for them very well. So Cato Brown onto the field. You have your recognizable people. You have Isaiah Johnson to his right. You have Ryan Wilmore on the near sideline, and you have Emmanuel Asachuga to the right-hand side, but it's going to be running play to Isaiah Johnson. He bounced off the pile. He's going to try and find a lane towards the near sideline. He's going to be hit and brought down with a huge tackle laid out by number 20 of the Renegades. That was Abdiel Richards on the tackle. It was a gain of 1 yard on the play. Like I said, Asachuku at the far sideline, Wilmore on the near sideline. That's where they usually play, at least their preferable side. It's going to be a 2 wideout spread. They're going to bring a lot of players in the O-line for the Raiders here. It's going to be another running play to Isaiah Johnson, who's going to be into the center of the pile. He's going to be pushing and pushing, and there's nowhere to go after that. It's a gain of another yard on the play. So it's going to be now 3rd and 8. Raiders dealing with a 3rd and long situation once again here.
Not much running room for Johnson.
What we were talking about in the pregame coverage is that we would like to see the ball in the hands of Wilmore once again. He comes up with these big plays. It's going to be Cato rolling out to the far sideline, choosing to almost run, but it's going to be a thrown and incomplete pass. Intended receiver number 81 for the Raiders, but it was at his feet. That was Cameron Prentice Brown. And it's going to be a 3 and out for the Raiders after only a gain of 3 yards. And Evan Benson, their trusty punter, is back onto the field.
They were trying to establish that running game with those first 2 plays to Isaiah Johnson to set up the play action that they tried to run on the last play with Cato Brown rolling out to the right, but they need to get the running game established first.
Evan Benson from his own end zone and take out to receive for the Renegades, number 17, Jaquel Tomlin. The punt is up, and it's going to be a long one this time, past the 50-yard line. They didn't give him any respect on that, and Tomlin's going to take the ball, but it might have been a really bad decision to do that. Right there, that was I can't even tell who had that. It was number 87.
Oh, that was number 27.
Excuse me, 27 for the Raiders, yeah. Michael Hightower with a huge stop there, just wrapped him up and was able to bring him down.
And you saw what Hightower did. Hightower, it was almost like on the defensive side with the defensive end playing quarterback containment. That's what Hightower was doing. He waited till Tomlin caught the ball, waited to see where he was going, and then went for the tackle.
I don't know why he chose to try and run with that ball. There was pretty much nowhere to go at that point. It was a high punt, and there was a lot of Raiders in the area. Nonetheless, the Renegades out on the field once again to play offense. And Gallus looking to change some things here. Looking to fire across the center. Is he going to hit his receiver? No. The ball was way overthrown. Intended receiver number 8, that's Jasmine Thind. He's the other most targeted receiver in the game. So far, he's a tall guy. A lot taller than most of the guys on their offense for that matter. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. You can imagine he would be a threat when he gets the ball in his hands and is able to run. Gallus takes a snap back once again, looking downfield. He's going to miss his read, and it's going to be a hot pursuit for him. The ball's going to be thrown, and it's going to be incomplete on the pass. It's now 3rd and 10 from Bakersfield's own 33-yard line.
It seems like Joseph Guerrero, number 5, he's a strong safety, 5'11", 190 pounds with the Raiders. He is everywhere. He was in the middle of the field for the first pass breakup, and then on our sideline, on the close sideline for that next pass breakup. So
sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, he is just everywhere. So he makes sure that he picks up the reads, almost like in basketball, to help defense.
Gallus looking downfield, has time. He's going to fire, and he hits his receiver, and that's a first down, number 3. Carlton Bowman with the reception. What a great grab there. He just went up and got it and held on to the ball. But are they going to call an incomplete pass? They do. They call an incomplete pass on the play. I thought he had it.
I thought he had it too.
But referees have a better view than we do, so he did not come down with it. And it's going to be a 3-and-out, so huge defensive stop here for the Raiders defense. And it's the first time we're going to see their punter, number 31, Abraham Katona, on the field.
And look at that guy back to receive, TJ Newborn.
Yeah, Newborn, our featured special teams receiver. The punt is up. He's going to be almost in the area, and the ball is going to be touched by the Raiders. We're not sure who has it. And it's going to be picked up by the Renegades.
It seems like TJ saw that he could do something with the ball. Of course, it was a little short. The containment guys running down the field were running a little too far wide outside of him, so it looked like he tried to have an open field in the middle, but didn't work out that way.
Sometimes you got to be a little more relaxed out there and just understand that the ball isn't going to be playable. Now, I don't think he quite had a good read on the ball, unfortunately. So Gallus still out on the field. Bakersfield going to be driving here again. It's going to be number 11, Ferguson Ayers, once again on the run, but he's going to be stopped up at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
Ball carrier Ayers. And 10. To Lamicio Hill.
I lost all the audio. Who's doing this?
So the touchdown by Bakersfield, all set up by the messed up punt return from the Raiders. Would have been a huge field position for the Raiders there. I mean, would have been brought down on the 40-yard line, but now has turned into a touchdown for Bakersfield. These are the mistakes, and it's another messed up kick there for the Renegades, so they're only able to get 6 out of it. A lot of stumbles here on special teams for Bakersfield.
Yes, it doesn't seem like they're ready, I guess. It seems like maybe they're a little too pumped up for this game. But yeah, the 2 muff snaps. I mean, excuse me, the first one was a muff snap, and then the second one was the blocked field goal. It seems like also that defensive line, that goal line of the Raiders, that special teams, they were able to just penetrate that offensive line and be able to get there for the block. That was a great play. Number 91 was in for the block. That was Zach Dunn.
So out to take the kick for the Raiders is number our regular names that we have out there.
Yes.
It's going to be TJ Newborn and, well, Isaiah Johnson this time.
Isaiah Johnson
Kicking for the Renegades, number 31, Abraham Katona. And the kick is up, and it's going to be taken around the 15-yard line by Newborn. Newborn trying to find a lane. He's going to be up to the 25. He's going to be up to the 30, and there's going to be a flag on the play on the 30-yard line. We'll see where that places the ball. A decent run back by Newborn.
Back to that last drive by the Renegades. As you saw Vickers, that big pass play that brought them down to the 1-yard line. When you are a wide receiver and you see man coverage on you and you're a guy like Vickers, how you know that you could overpower any defensive back, just put a little double move on him, which he did, and then he blew right past him. It just builds so much confidence for him.
During the return, holding on the return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So it's going to be 10 yards from the spot of the ball because of the holding penalty by the Raiders. Placing the ball on the 19-yard line. We have yet to see the Raiders find any momentum on offense so far. And Bakersfield is going to be playing with a lot of players in their backfield, impending what you could assume is the running play. It's almost the all-around defense because you're going to be able to defend against not only the run but the pass as well, and your DBs can spread out. But it's always tough to make that decision, so we'll see if the Raiders are able to pick this apart. You got Wilmore on the near sideline, and you have Asachukwu on the far sideline. Cato takes a snap back, hands it off to Johnson. They were out of the pistol. He's going to be up into the pile and in there for a gain of what should be 1 yard line on the play. Nowhere to go, really, for him.
The defense as well. We need to get Cato Brown for Moorpark to be able to pass the ball a little more because the defense, they didn't respect the pass. The furthest they were back was 10 yards, so they knew it was run all day.
So gain of 2 on the play. It's now 2nd and 8. The PA announcer's wrong. Almost 1.5, actually. Isaiah Johnson, he's going to find a hole, and it's going to be fumbled, but he's going to pick the ball up, luckily. Thank goodness he has the hands around it. As you saw him, he fell on the ball. The ball was stripped out of his hands. He was able to run directly towards the ball. It didn't take a weird bounce. It's another gain of yards. It's going to be 3rd and now 3, so they've driven 7 yards on this drive. They're going to have 2 receivers out. Isaiah Johnson slightly back and to the right of Cato Brown. Takes a snap back, and it's going to be a handoff again to Johnson, who's not going to be getting the first down on the play. It's another gain of what looks to be 1 yard, so it's going to be the special teams out on the field again.
As I mentioned, it almost seems like the defense is not respecting the passing game of Cato Brown. Cato Brown, they need to drop a play where they need to get some play action. Just have Cato Brown launch one, and just have like Ryan Wilmore, Emmanuel Asachukwu, go out there, a little streak route. That could build some more confidence, and the defense will respect that and back up a little more.
Tomlin out to take the punt from Evan Benson. Last time was a pretty decent length punt. He's now going to be located a little bit farther down the field this time. Didn't give him any respect the last time. But the ball is going to be rolling all down to the 15. There's a flag on the field. That was a late hit by Bakersfield. There's no reason why he should have laid him out like that. So there should be a penalty, what should be probably half the distance to the goal line, placing the ball inside the 10. Did you see what happened there, Ryan?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was a late hit. I mean, not a late hit, but that was a hit that shouldn't have happened. Of course, you can't just lay out players. So that was a dirty hit, but it will be brought back for the Renegades. So they will be within their own 10-yard line, as you mentioned.
That 15 yards will be added to the end of the run.
So now it's against the Raiders, actually.
Wow.
Which I did not expect, but it was a dead ball penalty. I presume in retaliation for the late hit. We'll see how this ends up, though. It's very interesting. I don't think the referees even know what's going on here.
Yeah, the referees aren't even picking up the ball yet.
While they spot the ball, we want to
Foul will
remind
be
everybody.
enforced on the receiving team.
Yeah, so like I thought, I think he called it wrong. I don't think there was any late hit or dead ball foul. It was definitely called against Bakersfield. There's no reason why that should have been called. So, yeah, it's going to pin the ball inside of the 10-yard line, actually on the 7. Gallus has a lot of work cut out for him. Maybe the Raiders could possibly get a safety here if their defense is good enough, but it's going to be a handoff, and that's to number 11, Ayers, who's going to be running up to the far sideline, and he's going to be brought down after a gain of what looks to be 8 on the play. Second and now 2.
Both of these defensive have been both playing well. Of course, with only 3 minutes, 30 seconds left in the first quarter, 6-0, the score is still standing.
Gallus takes a snap back, hands it off once again. That's Ayers. He's going to have the first down, but he's going to be hit and brought down pretty hard there. That was number 8 with the tackle for the Raiders. Don't have my sheet out.
Yes,
now.
Marcus Johnson.
Marcus Johnson, that's right.
He is a bad man out there, 6 foot, 230 pounds, all muscle.
Laid out Ayers thinking he was going to have some room to run, but that was cut down shortly. But nonetheless, 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. The Renegades trying to pick up where they left off with the long throw to Derek Vickers. And Gallus is going to be rolling out to the far sideline, and he's going to choose to run it. And he's going to be brought down and out of bounds, and he's going to fumble the ball, but it doesn't matter. It was out of bounds. He's the last man to touch it after a gain of 3 yards on the play. It's now going to be 2nd and 7.
Round the corner.
And that was a great pursuit by the linebacker. Of course, with the linebacker core, you should eye the quarterback. That's basically your job. You see where the quarterback's going. If you see the ball being handed off, you follow that running back, but you eye the quarterback, and he saw him going towards the sideline and just went for him and laid him out.
2nd and 7 from the 22. It's going to be delayed snap there, and it was going to be Ayers once again on the run. He's going to be brought down just shy what should be of the first down. It's going to be 3rd and just inches.
Number 11, the ball carrier. Watkins on the stoppage.
The gain of what looks to be almost 5. Was a gain of 5 on the play, so 3rd and now 2. Excuse me, it was a gain of 6, 3rd and now 1. Gallus going to be playing out of the gun. Switched up some things. 6 seconds on the play clock here. Takes a snap back with 1 second on the play clock. It's going to be Ayers with the run. He's going to be up and stopped just shy. He's going to be on the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be it. It's going to be a 4th down and 1. 1 minute and 14 seconds left on the clock in the first quarter. And they're going to choose to bring the special teams out there, so it's 1 minute and 7 seconds. Renegades 6, Raiders 0.
I was almost surprised that they did not go for Vickers on the play. Vickers was actually matched up with number 15, J.J. Durden, on our sideline, on the close sideline, and it was only man coverage. So I thought maybe a little play action, and they would have been able to get Vickers in.
It's interesting because he was beat the last time on that really long throw play of the last drive that they had. So the punt is up and almost blocked, and Newborn's going to call for the fair catch around the 30-yard line, and that's where it's going to be marked. Or the 29. We'll see where it's marked officially. 38 seconds in the first quarter. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, it does.
This has been a very interesting first quarter, if you will, and first half. The Raiders have yet to get a first down. There's been a huge sack for loss, a stop at the Raiders' 9-yard line.
A fumble even.
A fumble even. We've seen it pretty much everything so far. But the Raiders are set to begin their next drive, so it's going to be Isaiah Johnson out of the, it's going to be Cato Brown with Isaiah Johnson next to him out of the gun. Cato takes a snap, looking downfield. He's looking to throw, and he fires way up into the air. Emmanuel Asachukwu is looking for the catch, and it's going to be called incomplete on the coverage. Number 13 there for Bakersfield, Fred Weaver. He threw into double coverage on that play. It's going to be 2nd and now 10. Those are kind of the plays that you see Ryan Wilmore in on. Similar spread this time, still out of the gun. He brings Asachukwu in, so he's almost playing out of the slot here. They send Newborn in motion, hands it off. It's the motion play. Jet sweep to TJ Newborn. He's going to be hit. The gain of 1, if anything, on the play.
On the tackle for the Raiders.
It seems like, as I said, the defense, they're almost knowing that it's run each time. Even when even when it's just 5 offensive linemen, they're spread out 4 wide, just like the last play. They were basically calling run the whole time.
So that's going to be the end of the first quarter. We're going to spend some time and respect our advertisers. So this first quarter has been brought to you in part by Chewy's of Simi Valley. Good ambiance, and it doesn't get much better than that. Wood Ranch, make the right call. We cater fun parties. Custom Pie, serving up delicious wood-baked pizzas. And finally, Denny's. Welcome to America's Diner. So interesting enough, it's been a good defensive quarter, if you will, for the Raiders. I mean, they've aside from the one long play that they've given up, they've pretty much stopped Bakersfield from doing anything, especially on that long first drive. They were able to come up clutch in that situation.
That is also very surprising because this season they give up almost 34 points per game. With only 6 in the first quarter, that's a fairly good sign for the Raiders.
The prospect of good defense in this game looks high for them. So a switch on the field, 15 minutes left in this half. You have Emmanuel Asachukwu towards the near sideline and Ryan Wilmore out on the far sideline. Cade Schmitz in at slot. You have Isaiah Johnson. Cato's going to be looking to throw the ball here on 3rd down. He's going to be hit once and twice, and he's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of yards and another 4th down for the Raiders.
That brings out number 40, Evan Benson.
This defense, it seemed like they just sent everybody on that play. They were just making sure that Cato did not escape that pocket. They were making sure that he had no time to throw the ball.
Yeah, they have a lot of players who are just sitting right outside the tackle box waiting to see what the play is going to develop into. Bakersfield looking very well trained here on defense. And we have a stoppage of play here because there was nobody running clock on the play.
Yeah, the clock is still standing at, oh, now they fixed it. It's 14:58.
So they've run it down to 14:58. We'll see where it continues to go. I want to know what the referees see and want to call. It's now down to 14:48. We'll see if they continue to run the clock here at this point.
And yes, they're running out the clock a little bit.
Okay, so 14:40 left on the clock here in the first half. Evan Benson out to punt, and as you know, and we've called his name quite a bit so far, is Jaquel Tomlin out to take the punt. He's standing around his own 43-yard line. Finally giving Benson the respect he deserves. 2 long punts earlier on in this game. Takes a snap, and the punt is going to be up and good, and it looks like the Renegades are looking to get a return on this one. No, it's going to be a fair catch called around the 30-yard line, so they trade field position. The Raiders started in that spot as well.
Jaquel Tomlin, who was on punt return. Actually, his kick returns, he's a little better. He has 45 yards as his longest kick return. So he is a very dynamic back in returning punts and returning kicks.
Hopefully we get to see DJ Farmer possibly return a kick this tonight, or even TJ Newborn and his resurgence back onto the field. And now we have Dalton Gallus. He's going to be playing out of the gun. Has his running back Hill, and he's going to hand it off to Hill. He's going to be trying to find a hole, but the big boy still fights and finds some space, and he's going to be up there with a gain of 9 on the play. What an incredible run. He just wasn't quite done yet when he looked to be kind of wrapped up there inside of the pile, but he kind of bounced off and was able to run out of it. Gallus out of the pistol has 3 receivers in the trips formation to his left. His trusted receiver, Derek Vickers, playing in between Tomlin and number 8, Thin. And it's going to be a throwing play. thrown way away. There was nowhere to go. It's 3rd and now 1. The Raiders force another 3rd down situation here. They've been very good on defense so far. I would say they've been very most efficient.
Yes, they have, and as I mentioned, 33.6, excuse me, about 34 points per game they allow, but that, the Renegades offense, they are getting about 30.8 points per game, so they're also a little bit behind on their average.
They're going to be playing out of the gun this time, and it's going to be another handoff, and that's Vickers with the ball. He's going to be really quick fighting off the lane out the far sideline, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds. That's a 1st down and another large gain for the Bakersfield Renegades. He's finally pushed out of bounds around the 26. What a fast man he is.
Yes, and when you're fast like that, when you get past one line of the defense, that defensive line, then you start getting past the defensive backs, you just see real estate in front of you, and that just gives you so much confidence, and it makes you even run faster, as we saw with Vickers.
The Renegades finding some momentum here. The chains are finally set. The ball is going to be handed off, and that's going to be Vickers once again on the run. Still not done here. He's going to be brought down with a gain of 5 on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 5.
Mike Jones on the stoppage for the Raiders.
If you look down on the field, number 43 is in the game, Jordan Flack.
So Jordan Flack is finally able to come onto the field for the Raiders. He's been huge for their defense so far, as well as he was last year in a game against Bakersfield. We'll see how this is going to end up turning out. The defense has a lot of players inside the box looking for the impending run play, and they're going to run it to Vickers again. He's going to find a hole. He's going to find a lane. He's going to juke 1 and 2, and he's going to be in there for the 1st down.
Once again, Vickers, the ball carrier.
Sometimes running backs don't even need to have a hole. Like you said, he found a hole. He made one. So Vickers, when you're that running back position and you don't see a hole, you have to do as much as you possibly can to be able to make your own, and he did on that play.
With a fresh set of downs inside the Raiders 15. It's going to be set on the 14. 12 minutes and 3 seconds left on the clock here in the 1st half. Gallus takes the snap back, and he hands it off to his running back, Lemescio Hill. He's been their workhorse so far in this game. That was a gain of, it looks to be 1 or 2 on the play.
Speaking about Lemescio Hill, 259 yards, 4 touchdowns this season.
He's been getting the rock quite often. And that looks to be a gain of 2 on the play. 2nd and now 8 for the Renegades. Defense has to come up big with another red zone stop here. And remember, that's going to play in that they did miss the field goal.
Yes.
Or excuse me, the point after. So they're going to play out of the gun with the split set. It's going to be a throwing play. They're going to hit number 3. That's Carlton Bowman, who's going to be brought down. No gain, or they're going to mark him with a gain on the play, a gain of what looks to be 2 with forward progress, but he was hit and wrapped up by a lot of Raiders in pursuit. They saw that play almost coming all the way. And now another big 3rd down situation here. It's going to be 3rd and 7 for the Renegades. Snap back, looking to fire to the end zone. Is he going to hit his receiver? He does. That's number 17 with the toss from
That is a touchdown, Renegades.
Dalton Gallus. That was Jaquel Tomlin. He chucks on another touchdown of the game.
That was a perfectly thrown ball when you're a quarterback and you see your wide receiver kind of almost going. It wasn't a post route, but he was fading towards the back corner of the end zone. When you see that, you want to hit him on his on the sideline side of his shoulder, so the back side of his shoulder, and he did. That was perfect placement. It was basically a dot that he threw out there, I guess you could say.
So out to kick is number 9, Jacob Young. Hasn't been able to get the ball up. Finally, he does, and it's going to be a point after that is good here. That's going to lend us to another time for advertising. This 2nd quarter has been brought to you in part by Los Robles Hospital and Medical Center, well within reach. Moorpark Center for Dentistry. At Moorpark Center for Dentistry, we care about our community as much as you do. And finally, W.J. Saunders Agency, proud to be Simi Valley's agent for Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
It almost seems like this game today is a game of third downs.
Yeah, the big third down situations. The Raiders were big in the first quarter, but not necessarily big here in this second quarter. 10:40 left on the clock in this first half. Kick is going to be up, and it's going to be Farmer who's going to have the return on this one. Farmer coming up to the 20-yard line. He's up to the 30. He has a lot of room in front of him.
Wow.
It's only him down to the 40-yard line. The 30, the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown! Moorpark Raiders. What an incredible run back. That is how you spark a team, and luckily they're going to have a chance to come here and stop them on defense now. The Raiders chalk up 6 on the board. What an incredible run back for Farmer. I told you 3 weeks ago he had a huge run. A week before that, he was against Palomar, and the week before that against Long Beach, he had a huge run back. What an incredible young talent DJ Farmer is. Go ahead and dive into how that unrolled.
And you were just talking about it also a little bit before that you would like to see DJ Farmer get a kick return, and you just saw that right there. He had some good blocking. He went straight through the middle. Actually, TJ Newborn was leading the block. He had a lane, and then he saw a hole. He cut back to the right, and with that mindset of a returner, if you see a little hole, you push through it. He was able to push through it and just take off from there.
The extra point from Gavin Todd was good, so the Raiders finally to put some points on the board, and in a huge way. I mean, how else would you expect the Raiders to do this? They did it against El Camino. I know that. That was a big one where it was on the punt return. This time on the kickoff return, Farmer has been just, he has a knack for it. I mean,
yes,
I don't even know how you could even argue with the fact that he definitely deserves to have the ball in his hands a lot more. And it's exciting to watch him run with the ball.
And Ms. Farmer must be proud of him right now.
Absolutely.
That was a big return.
A shout out to his parents for sending him here to Moorpark College. We're excited and happy to watch him return the ball all the way down to the end zone. And the Raiders have really filled up this stadium. We have quite the atmosphere here tonight. Looks like around 5,000 people and individuals, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're not able to attend this game, we apologize that you're not here, but nonetheless, we're happy that you're listening to us here on our broadcast of Moorpark Raider football, brought to you by the Film, TV, and Media Department here at Moorpark College. Send a shout out to my film team.
Definitely, they do help us out a lot, especially with these.
Go ahead.
Especially with these broadcasts that we do, all the different parts of it, the camera work, everything.
Yeah, you know, it's a huge step up from where we were last year, so we very much appreciate it. Athletics appreciates it. There's a little bit of a delay of play here. But just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, that score was brought to you in part by The Hat, the world-famous pastrami. It's going to be Gavin Todd to kick the ball off. He hasn't had a chance to do that since the first quarter of the first play of the game. And it's going to be a squib kick, and it's going to be bouncing over, and it's going to be Tomlin with the ball. He's going to be running towards the near sideline, and he's going to grab onto the face mask. That was number 19, Cade Schmitz. I don't know if there's going to be a flag on that play, but they should have called that. He stiff-armed him but grabbed onto his face mask. I don't think that's okay.
Yes, I don't think that's too good, but it almost seemed like they did the squib kick to make sure Tomlin did not get the ball, but Tomlin did get the ball in the end and was able to make, I guess, something out of nothing. There is an injured player out on the field, though.
So we are going to go ahead and take a break here for respects of the injured player. Once again, I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Ketchum. We're going to head down to Nathan Espinoza after the commercial break, and we'll see you in a few moments.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here after the injury break. The player was okay out onto the field, and so I'm going to go ahead and try and contact our on-field reporter, Nathan Espinoza. So, Nathan, we have a quick question for you. So, what do you see different coming here from the Raiders' offense? I mean, how have they really started to attack the game differently, as opposed to, you know, now we see them score here in the second half, in the second quarter. But from the first quarter to the second quarter, how do we see the Raiders coaching staff changing up the way that they're playing the game here?
You know, the guys are just staying resilient over here. Everybody's over here staying real positive. Every time there's an accident or a mistake made on the field, everybody's quick to rally around them and make sure that they realize that it's just a mistake and they can overcome it. I think resilience is the key tonight for this team. I've noticed that we haven't seen Jordan Flack on the field. Jordan Flack has been off the field for a little bit, so we'll see if we can get him back in the field. As soon as he came back in the field is when we got that the return back. So maybe just his energy on the field to help us bring this Raiders team back up. Another touchdown.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nathan. You know, I'm glad that we are able to get that insight, and we'll see you later in the second half, or excuse me, in the second quarter. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And speaking about that energy that Nathan Espinoza was talking about, our field reporter, Mike Jones, number 1, actually came in with a big sack on the quarterback.
And there was a huge hit there by number 5 of the Raiders. That was Joseph Guerrero. It's a 4th and really long now. The Raiders huge on defense. While we were listening to Nathan talk, we missed a huge sack by number 51. Who was that for the Raiders?
Well, actually, it was number 1, Mike Jones. He came in there, and there was a few players in there as well. Number 5, Joseph Guerrero. They just laid a big hit on the quarterback. That is, just like Nathan was talking about, a big energy. It's a big momentum booster.
So TJ Newborn out to take the punt. He's standing around his own 35-yard line. The punt is going to be up and good. We'll see if he chooses to call for the fair catch, but he does not. He misses the ball this time, and it's going to be running out of bounds. And it's going to be out of bounds around the 10-yard line. Another miscue here for the Raiders and a really long punt, so they're going to be pinned on their own 9-yard line. We'll see if they're going to be able to get some momentum here on offense. Obviously, they have kind of stuttered here, aside from the long kickoff return from Farmer.
Locally owned and operated since 1950.
Yes, and Farmer, he is just a great return man alongside TJ Newborn. He just sees the holes very well. He is able to just burst straight through them. When you're looking as a return man, you're looking for everything out on the field, all the defenders, where they are placed, and he has just been great at doing that.
So 9:20 left on the clock after that punt. They're pinned on their own 9-yard line. The Raiders going to be playing out of the gun. They have their 2 receivers, Asachukwu and Wilmore, who has yet to be targeted so far in this game. Cato takes a snap, and it's going to be a running play. No, it's going to be Cato Brown with the quarterback keeper. He's brought down after a gain of 5 yards. He almost had the run. They just snagged up his foot. On the tackle was number, what looked to be 90 on the play for Bakersfield, and that was Nigel Brooks, the defensive lineman. Cato. It's going to be another quarterback keeper. He's going to be hit and wrapped up. He has another gain on the play with forward progress. It was a gain of what looks to be 3 yards, so it's now it looks to be 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. We'll see where the spot is.
3rd and 2, gain of some.
And a big 3rd down play. Of course, there are a game of 3rd downs, basically.
Cato out of pistol, takes a low snap. There is no read there, and it's Wilmore with the catch. He's hit and brought down. Wilmore, like I said, there you go. He's that kind of guy who sits there and goes unnoticed. And a lot of people think he doesn't have hands, or he just might be a receiver out there to draw the attention from the DBs, but he was hit and found there on the outside, and that's the Raiders' first down.
Yes, he's almost underrated out there. The defenses don't really respect him. They haven't seen too much of him, but Cato knows who Ryan Wilmore is, and he gives it to him all the time.
So a gain of 10 there with the throw of first down for the Raiders, and that's going to be Isaiah Johnson, who's going to be hit and brought down. He's going to lose yards on that play. It was 3. His forward progress only marks him with a loss of 3. There's nowhere to go.
Johnson, the ball carrier.
The Renegades knew exactly where they were going with that play. Isaiah Johnson being pretty much the front of all attack here anyways in the first half. 7:46 left on the clock. Raiders 7, Renegades 13. 2-receiver spread now. A lot of DBs in the box. We'll see if they get a quick pass over here. It's going to be a fake pass. Tries to hit, and that's number 36, and it's a fumble with the reception. There's a fumble on the reception. Number 28 was the one who ended up picking it up. It was Matthew Hubble. Number 36, who was the targeted receiver but dropped the ball. That was Jerry Rodriguez.
It almost seemed like Jerry Rodriguez, he knew he had the catch. He riled it in, but he saw the daylight in front of him. He was focusing too much on running the ball. He wasn't focusing on the defenders as well. Sometimes you also have to focus on the defenders a little bit, and the defender caught him off track and was able to hit him in the back. When you're a wide receiver with that much daylight, sometimes you forget about your surroundings. Sometimes you just see you, yourself, the football, and the end zone,
So
and that's what happened.
It feels like the Raiders were making some progress there on defense or on offense. Now they're going to have to make up some ground here on defense. Gallus takes the delayed snap. It's going to be a screen out to their number 1 receiver, Vickers, who's going to find some space out the far sideline, and he's going to be brought down after a gain of 9 or 10 on the play. We'll see where they spot it. It was a gain of 9 down to the Raiders' 26-yard line.
And that was a great block by number 17, Jaquel Tomlin, who was in the slot. He was able to put a block out on his defensive back to be able to give Vickers a little more room.
And you'll see why Vickers is the number 1 targeted receiver. He's got legs, and once he starts running, he's really fast. I don't think he likes to get hit very often, but I think if he has open field, there's going to be no one here to catch him. And it's going to be Vickers on the jet sweep. He's running around the outside trying to find a lane. He's going to have the first down, but he's going to be brought down
Vickers, number 1.
at the 21-yard line.
Rivers, Mason River on
So the Raiders able to stop him up and track him all the way to the near sideline.
Bakersfield.
It's going to be 6:55 left on the clock in the first half. The Raiders have to come up huge here with the stop, keep it within 2 scores. You don't want it to run away with you with 2 touchdowns, hopefully just a field goal and a touchdown. Remember that Bakersfield missed their extra point opportunity. So out in single coverage on the far sideline is going to be Jaquel Tomlin. It's going to be a bad snap on the play, but there's a flag out. We'll see where this ends up. And it's going to be a false start against the Renegades, so that's going to send the ball back 5 yards. Or we'll see where the ball was spotted actually after the bad snap.
On the offense, 2 men in the backfield. That penalty's refused. 3rd down. 2nd down.
So I was completely wrong. I saw the referee spinning his hands because I looked away for a second. All of a sudden the ball was snapped off. Nonetheless, it's going to be a loss of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards on the play. So a great play by the Raiders to make sure that they can keep the quarterback down. Gallus takes a snap back around. He's rolling out to the 35-yard line, trying to hit the single coverage on Vickers, but he wasn't able to get his hands around the ball. The ball literally bounced off his hands.
Yes, he was wide open after he made a good move on number 15, J.J. Durden.
J.J. Durden almost watched the ball kind of run into him. He let the ball travel and saw where it was going to go, so he was able to get his hands in the way.
Yes.
And that kind of just messed up the travel path of the ball, which messed up Vickers on the play, which it's not really expected because he's had some pretty good hands so far tonight. So they have Vickers on the far sideline. They have Tomlin on the near sideline. He's going to take the snap back, and the ball's going to be fumbled. And the Raiders come up huge on 3rd down. Number 74 able to sweep it up. He's not even on our roster.
Jordan Flack, number 40.
Even people who are not on the roster are making plays out here.
Nice defensive effort by the Raiders.
Nonetheless, the Raiders able to get the ball pushed back really far on the play as Jordan Flack with the forced fumble. What a huge addition that he is. And they're going to choose to punt the ball on 4th and very long, try and put it within the coffin corner. And the Raiders don't have anybody in the backfield. What are they doing? And the ball is going to be well short. It's going to be rolling down to the 5. And it's going to be all Renegades in the way. I don't know what the Raiders coaching staff was thinking on that play. They should have had someone back to take the punt, at least keep it from being at the 5-yard line. And if it was, at least you have it in someone's hands. But what a bad situation that might be. Raiders pinned within their own 5 now. What a great punt. By number 31 for the Renegades, that was Abraham Katona.
Yeah, you put it right in the sweet spot where it can bounce, and it did take the Renegade bounce, as you mentioned, to the 5.
So Wilmore out to the far sideline, Asachukwu on the near sideline. It's 5 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. They're going to go with the shotgun formation, 2 receiver spread here. They like to have their tight ends bunched in on the set, so we'll see if they're going to be able to shoot off the line and get a reception here. Cato's going to be throwing all the way, quarterback keeper. He's going to be hit and brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Bad play on that end. Good for the Renegades. Clock is still running, 5 minutes left in the half. Cato walking a little bit gingerly after that play.
They're now back at their 3-yard line. Wow.
The Raiders deep in a hole. A lot of players in the box here for the Renegades. Isaiah Johnson with the ball. He's going to be juking around towards the near sideline. He's going to be hit once and twice, and he's going to be brought down with a large gain on the play, just shy of the first down. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Isaiah Johnson, the feature back of Raider football here in 2016, showing what he can do with his legs.
And that play was also brought upon Emmanuel Osuchukwu, who is actually on our side of the sideline, the close side. Number 14, he laid a nice block on the defensive back.
Everybody getting involved here. And it's going to be a false start against the Raiders, sending the ball backwards.
Moorpark. Prior to the snap, false start, number 56 in the offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So it's going to make it a 3rd and 6 now. So what was originally a manageable play now is going to send the Raiders, who are a rather horizontal offense, if you will. They don't like to throw the ball deep down the field. They do every once in a while. Possibly another chance for Wilmore here. We'll see if he gets targeted. They have bunched receivers on the near sideline. Emmanuel Osuchukwu goes farther out. Takes a snap back looking to throw. Fires. Wilmore with the one-handed catch. Wow. Holy cow! What an amazing grab by him. Like I said, he is the man here on offense for the Raiders. I don't think I have ever seen a catch like that in junior college football. Ryan Wilmore.
He is only 6'1", 195 pounds, and he could jump like that. That is a weapon that you need to use.
Lands on his back. We'll see where they end up spotting the ball. It should be 4th and 1. It's going to be 4th and 1 now. And the Raiders are going to choose to go for it here. What a surprising turn of events this might be. We'll see if they hand it off to Johnson. They're deep in their own territory. 3 minutes and 24 seconds left on the clock. The Raiders almost going for broke here. Ryan Wilmore, holy cow.
I can't get over that catch either. Wow.
I mean, that is something that needs to be replayed and replayed and replayed. That is beautiful work on his end for going up and getting that ball.
That was almost just like Odell Beckham Jr.
That is better than Odell Beckham Jr. That ball was fired almost like a Brock Osweiler pass. Like, if you've been watching the Texans play this year, Osweiler has been literally throwing bullets to his receivers, and that ball was thrown so hard that I didn't expect him to hold on to the ball, but he literally reached up, grabbed it with his hand midair, and I don't know how he got so high on the play.
He almost jumped fully over the defensive back as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't come down with forward progress.
And to hang on with just one hand, that has a lot of strength, a lot of grip strength. Wow. He is an animal out there.
That was an amazing play. So the Raiders have their first timeout here in the half. It's going to give us no time to do any advertisements, so don't listen to me at all. But they're going to send Evan Benson out of the field, choose the special teams as the better play here.
Young lady, I have an extra jacket. Would you like it?
Out to take the punt for the Renegades is number 17, Jaquel Tomlin. He's standing around the Raiders' 45, so they're not giving him any respect again this time. Remember what happened last time they did that? Evan Benson sailed it over his head towards the Renegades' 40-yard line.
Yes, he has a strong leg.
Raiders defense up and ready to take the field after this. And Benson sends it about to the 50. And it's going to be Tomlin taking it at the 48-yard line. So he puts it in Renegade territory. The Raiders defense has a huge job here. You know, it did give them a chance because they didn't take a lot of time off the clock here. It was 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in the first half. This game has flown by. Raiders 7, Renegades 13.
And as you were mentioning, just punting the ball in the opposing territory, even if it's just at the 48-yard line like it is right now, that just is kind of a confidence booster. It gets you a little bit more pumped up, especially with our punter being in his own end zone.
Gallus takes a snap back, hands it off, fakes the handoff. He's going to be holding the ball and holding on to it. He's running for his life here. He's going to be coming in, and he's going to be hit by a lot of Raiders there. Key in on the tackle. That was number 42, Mark Martin.
Number 42 for the Raiders.
But it wasn't just him. It was a lot of other players forcing that scramble, but he did get a lot of yards out of that. It was a gain of 6 on the play, second and now 4 from the Raiders' 46-yard line. Gallus going to be playing out of pistol. They have no receivers spread out. It's all going to be bunched on the inside. We'll see what they choose to do with this if it's a running play. He's going to hand it off to Hill. Hill's going to be fighting for yards, and he's going to be brought down with a gain of 2 on the play. It's now 3rd and 2 from the Raiders.
Handoff to Hill.
44-yard line. Just shy, actually, of the 44-yard line, almost in between 44 and a half.
3rd and about 2 for Moorpark.
3rd and 2.5 now for the Renegades. 1 minute and 55 seconds.
For Bakersfield.
Jordan Flack is going to be playing on the end there. So they have their big men on the field, their playmakers on the field. It's going to be a run to Vickers, who's going to find a hole, but was wrapped up and just shy of the first down on the play. We'll see what Bakersfield intends to do with it. It's going to be just shy. 4th down, and they're going to choose to go for it here.
Wow, big play.
Big play here. We'll see what they choose to do. Gallus looking to get the instructions from his coach. 1 minute and 19 seconds. This could also be a tactic if they call a timeout here. Run the clock off 19 seconds. But they're going to choose to spread it out. 14 seconds on the play clock. 1 minute and 9 seconds left in the half. They're going to probably try to catch the Raiders off guard here. Bowman out the far sideline. And that's going to be Vickers, who's going to definitely find a lane. He's in there with the first down. And he's brought down at around the 31-yard line. The clock will stop momentarily until they get the chain set. 55 seconds left on the clock.
As you were mentioning as well, Jordan Flack, just having Jordan Flack on the field. When the quarterback, number 5 out there, Gallus, was rolling out to our side of the field, that left side of the formation, he went and he had Jordan Flack behind him, so he had to go. That was on the big hit that number 42 laid on him. That was Mark Martin, but Jordan Flack was the one chasing him into Mark Martin. So just having him out on the field is what you need.
So this stop is going to give us an opportunity to represent our sponsors here. This first half coverage has been brought to you in part by DCH Auto Group, delivering customer happiness. Conoco Oil, Mac Valley, still locally owned and operated since 1950. And finally, Peach Hill Soils. We're dedicated to mastering the art of landscaping. And once again, this game has been brought to you in part by The Hat, the world-famous pastrami. They are in-game sponsor tonight, as well as the California Army National Guard. Allowing these players to come out onto the field and allowing us to have a cheerleading team and a beautiful, beautiful game atmosphere. Gallus evades one tackle. He's going to be rolling out to the far sideline. Fires. Is he going to hit his receiver? No. It's an incomplete pass. Second and 10 now from the 31-yard line of the Raiders. 46.5 seconds left on the clock in this first half. They're going to call for a new personnel from the Raiders. That's featuring James Perryman and Jordan Flack. So the duo is going to be working on the field, probably impending a running play possibly here. Remember, Bakersfield has 2 more timeouts left in this half. Gallus going to be playing out of the gun. He has Vickers bunched up on the inside, and it's going to be a screenplay to Vickers. He's going to juke once, juke twice, and he's going to be brought down. That was number 42, Mark Martin, on the tackle. And they're going to call another timeout, so Bakersfield trying to get a score out of this. 35 seconds left in the first half. We're going to send it away, and we'll see you after the end of this timeout here, after this short commercial break.
Attention Raiders fans, if you are unable to attend a Raider football game, you don't need to be uninformed. Go to moorparkcollegeathletics.com for live streams.
And we're back here to continue our coverage of the first half of 3C2A action. It's the Raiders versus the Renegades, a rivalry of Northern Conference Division football here in Southern California. The Bakersfield Renegades with 13, the Raiders with 7. Bakersfield is currently driving down the field here in this first half, second quarter. 35-5 left on the clock. Gallus looking to throw, trying to find Vickers, but he wasn't able to do anything, and he was hit and bent in a really odd way. He dove forward with his helmet, which I don't think any quarterback should ever want to try and do that. And they're going to call another timeout. It's now fourth. Fourth and now with a loss of yards, 4th and 4. So they're going to call another timeout, which gives us an opportunity to talk about this first half before our halftime show, which is brought to you by the California Army National Guard. I just want to give them a chance to have some airtime here.
Yes, they were that big hit, as you mentioned, just right before. Jordan Flack, as I've been mentioning, he wasn't in on the big hit, but he was part of the crowd that was going towards him. Jordan Flack, he was able to stop the quarterback from going to the left side. That's what pushed Gallus towards the right side. So just having Jordan Flack out there, I've been mentioning that a lot, but Jordan Flack, he just does so much for the team, so much for the Raiders. And it seems like the players are trying to pump up the crowd right now.
And the college's 49th year.
So here we go. This should be one of the final plays of the half. We'll see how this goes down. It's 22 seconds left on the clock. It's the first half. Raiders have to come up big here on 4th down to stop the Renegades. We'll see how this goes. They have all their big men on the field. You got James Perryman. You got Jordan Flack. You got number 72. That's Hunter Schmidt. And it's going to be a pass over the center, and it's incomplete. The Raiders force the 4th down to be incomplete, and that's it. The Renegades not able to convert here on 4th down. What a great play. I'm surprised they didn't go with a run, to be honest, because they've been basically guaranteed almost 5 yards per play on the run play. But the Raiders huge, stack up the box and cause the pressure to affect the Renegade offense, and it's going to be the Raider offense onto the field. We'll see if they take a knee or if they choose to run one more play.
Yes, with 19 seconds left, they still have those 2 timeouts, so don't be too surprised if they go for a few plays, maybe try to throw it down the field, let it fly from Cato Brown to Emmanuel Osochukwu.
And 19-3 left on the clock. And we'll see. Oh, they decide to take the knee, and that's going to be it for our first half coverage, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Ketchum. What an incredible first half, and I'm excited to see you guys in the halftime show. I presume you and Nathan will have a lot to talk about here for this first half. All right, once again, this half has been brought to you by the world-famous pastrami here in Simi Valley and the California Army National Guard. Once again, I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Ketchum. We'll see you in a few moments.
So, ladies and gentlemen, starting a new halftime tradition, let's welcome back Moorpark College singer-student Betty Jean Hanna, who will be singing God Bless America. Please stand to honor both our country and our freedom, along with the men and women who have and currently are providing it for us. Thank you, Moorpark College students, Betty Jean Hanna.
A firefighter's duty. Fighting fires, rescuing citizens, performing copious kettlebell exercises demands a daring degree of readiness. A degree of readiness achieved eating fulfillingly flavorful Firehouse subs. With premium carved meats and cheeses steamed to tasty magnificence, then piled onto toasted rolls. Is your footwear connected to your pants? No, it's not. Because you're not a firefighter. But you can be ready like one. Firehouse subs, the hero of all subs.
I remember the moment clearly,
I'll never forget that moment.
as long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen, performing for the first time their first homecoming game in almost 10 years, your Moorpark College Raider cheerleaders. Now, the fun is still happening as the cheerleaders have t-shirts to get into the stands for you. There's t-shirts, some certificates for a sandwich, and a drink of your choice. This is the Hat Number 7 restaurant, Spirit Remote. Make some noise and get those cheerleaders to throw the shirts into the stand for you.
Bucks, but we saw a lot of Jordan Flack. He was just, even if he wasn't hitting somebody, he was basically preventing the quarterback from going to a certain spot. What did you see out on the field with him?
Absolutely. You can tell the team, the opposite team, the Bakersfield, knows who he is, and they avoid him at all costs.
Yes.
Raiders are actually playing him very sparingly right now. He's not in every single play for defense, but every time he is in a play, he is definitely making a difference. Like I said earlier, they're avoiding him. So when he is interjected into a game, everything is forced away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it's not, you can see he's a part of that. He's either getting a sack, he's in the middle of it, or like I said, he's forcing the ball away from him into somebody else. And so Jordan Flack just needs to keep it up. Even though he's not in every single play right now, he's definitely making his presence heard. Other than that, you know, the defense has been doing really good of holding up this Bakersfield offense.
Yes.
We know number one touchdown scorer in the nation is playing for Bakersfield
Yes,
right now.
Vickers is doing
great.
great.
Vickers
Derek
got
Vickers.
11 touchdowns in the state already. So Vickers is being held to not so many yards, points, receptions, targets, anything tonight. And so noticing on the sidelines, our cornerbacks are doing a really good job. They're forcing the ball to other people besides Vickers, even though they are down a touchdown right now. The touchdown did come in from somebody else. We can just hope this defense is really fired up. Michael Hightower, one of the cornerbacks, is really fired up down there, keeping the team's vibe really high right now.
And as you said about Derek Vickers, he is basically the main option for this Bakersfield offense. He has gotten the ball handoff to him or thrown to him a lot, but besides that one long touchdown, as you mentioned, he hasn't done too much. What have you seen down on the field that the Moorpark defense has been able to do against him with double coverage or whatever they were able to do to be able to prevent too many yards?
You know what it is a lot of the times they're getting to him as the ball's getting to him, and he can't wrap the ball up. And even when he catches that ball, they're actually wrapping him up really well. He's not getting a lot of catches yards after catch. And then not only that, he's also kind of getting him roughed up before he gets to the ball. You can see the cornerbacks are definitely bumping him a little bit more. Linebackers are chipping him as he's making crosses across the field. So I think we know he's their number one player as well, and we're doing our best to keep him off the field as much as possible.
A big play from our Moorpark offense. Actually, our Moorpark special teams. We saw DJ Farmer with that big kick return. What did you see from him? Of course, I saw a lot of good blocking out there, but just that intense speed that he has.
It was speed. You know, there's always good blocking on every play. With this one, really caught off guard was DJ came flying into that hole.
Yeah.
And he came flying in that hole with zero hesitation. And when he did that, he popped back out the other side without a problem, and there was nobody on the other side of him. All he needed was a little space, and he was wide open. Surprisingly, we thought it was going to be TJ who were going to have a breakout game coming back. TJ's actually fumbled a little bit, had a little bit of a rough game, but DJ's there to pick it up for him. So we're happy DJ's down there on the field alongside him.
With those big plays like by Vickers with that big pass play, we saw that actually J.J. Durden, he was the cornerback that was actually guarding Vickers on that big pass play, and he's basically been the main cornerback guarding him this game.
Yeah.
What are you going to see possibly by the coaches? What are they going to tell their team? What are they going to tell J.J. Durden to do a little bit differently to prevent those big plays from happening?
You know what? They're definitely going to keep it up. That was a mismatch that they definitely found on the field. For the most part, Mike Jones has been doing a really good job of shutting him down. I think they got Mike Jones lined up on somebody else that play and was able to burn him. It's a mismatch game, so as long as you're able to find your matches and get the ball to the right person, and they're definitely going to be able to make some stops.
Yes, they will. And Cato Brown, it doesn't seem like he's throwing the ball too much. It almost seems like the defense from Bakersfield, the Renegades, they are basically sacking the box because they know I.J. Johnson is going to get the ball. Are you going to possibly see some more passes thrown in the second half?
You know, I would expect to see more Isaiah Johnson, to be honest with you, because Bakersfield has struggled with the run in the past. Because they struggled to run in the past, I think just being resilient and sending Isaiah in there over and over and over, pounding on him, will eventually break through. Don't forget, we have a great running back by committee as well. We have guys like Ray Thomas back there, River Meza, and then the list goes on. We have a good number of running backs we can keep pounding in there. As far as throwing, you know, he's thrown a couple good passes. The problem is that there's really good defense on Bakersfield, and it's hard for his wide receivers to get coverage. I don't know if Manuel's not 100%, but Osachukwu's definitely having a hard time finding any separate on the field tonight. Yeah.
Definitely, and especially with this second half, it seems like we are going to have a little bit of a weather problem. There's a little bit of rain coming in, a little bit of mist, but that is going to be good for the second half. This was the halftime show presented to you by California National Guard. We will be back in just a bit.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trap beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Welcome back to the halftime show. I'm Nathan Espinosa. I'm alongside Sergeant First Class, Andres Viveros. We're here with National Guard. You're here supporting them. Just want to thank you for coming in and supporting us. What is one of the big reasons that you're here supporting Moorpark Raiders football today?
Well, you know, the National Guard is very big on education, and we want to offer all the students at Moorpark College an opportunity to help them assist with their education costs.
Absolutely. I know you're a veteran yourself. You've been in the military, I believe, 26 years. The first 4 years of your life, you did spend them with the Marines, and then you transitioned over to the National Guard. What are some of the benefits you got from transitioning to the National Guard and that you learned from the Marines in your first 4 years of your career?
Well, the Marines offered a lot. I learned a lot of discipline from the Marine Corps, and I learned the value of serving our military for the benefit of this great country and all the citizens of the United States.
Excellent, excellent. I know that we have a scholarship program that you offer to a lot of students. You want to talk about a couple of the benefits that enrollees in the National Guard will receive, as well as from college students?
Right. Well, we offer a lot of school benefits for students. There are scholarships, we have tuition assistance, but the biggest thing that we offer is life experience. When you come into the National Guard and the military as a whole, students get that training, that life experience that employers are looking for, that leadership, all that accountability, responsibility that goes into being in the military, and that counts a lot. When you put that on your resume as you being part of the military, employers look for that, and more than likely you will be ahead of the game of everybody else.
Absolutely. Well, I do want to thank you for coming out with the National Guard. Where is somewhere where some of our viewers can reach you and maybe get more information about signing up with the National Guard?
Well, the biggest and easiest way is to just go to nationalguard.com /CA, and all our benefits, all our recruiters' information are in there. All you have to do is just type in your name and information, and a recruiter will get in contact with you as soon as possible.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Sergeant Viveros. We really appreciate your service over the years, and we expect to hear from you again in the future. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful evening. We're going to end the halftime show. We're going to go back to the field in just a moment. I'm Nathan Espinosa. Thank you guys very much.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at nationalguard.com.
Let us celebrate innovations that propel our species forward. The crescent wrench, the chainsaw, the labradoodle, and steam. Steam harnessed to liberate the flavor of premium carved turkey and cheddar cheese before a culinary coronation of peppercorn ranch and pepper bacon. Give a man meat, and he can make you a sandwich. Teach a man to use a steamer, and he can make you a sub fit for a firefighter. Firehouse Subs, the hero of all subs. An abridged hierarchy of man's needs. Clothing, shelter, duct tape, and beef. But not just any beef. Beef that meets Firehouse Subs' stubborn standards for unfettered flavor. Smoked in a smokehouse for no fewer than 16 hours. Then married to cheddar and steamed to unparalleled palatability. It's a man's needs reinterpreted by a man's man. A fireman. Recharged and ready to roll. Firehouse Subs, the hero of all subs.
So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here in the third quarter, 3C2A action between the Renegades and the Raiders. The Raiders won the coin toss, and they are now back to take the kick. It's going to be Farmer and Newborn. Remember, Farmer had the long kick return earlier. He's going to be working his way out the far sideline. He's going to get at the 1-yard line, up to the 10. He's going to be up to the 20. He's not going to get tackled or even touched up until the 25, but he's going to be brought down after a gain of 27 yards. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Raiders. 14 minutes, 53 seconds left in the third quarter. And the Raiders offense is going to take the field. Ryan, what do you feel about this next offensive drive?
This offensive drive, I think that they should pass the ball a little more. Don't be too surprised if you see Ryan Wilmore, number 83. Of course, he's been great. He's actually on the opposite side of the field, the opposite sideline, spread out wide. Look for him to be able to get a good pass play with the defensive back sagging off.
Emmanuel out of the gun, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson's going to find a lane up the far sideline. He's going to be hit once, but he's going to break the tackle up to the 50, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds around the 45 of the Renegades.
That is definitely why I'm not coach. That was a great call right there, a great running play, great blocking, able to go on the left side of the field and just busted open a big run.
I was actually just talking to Ryan Wilmore's father during this halftime while you guys were in halftime show, and he said Isaiah Johnson's going to get the rock a lot more in this second half, and I do believe it's true. Hopefully they're going to be able to be a lot more dynamic. That first half almost has set up what we're looking at here on the second half, and Cato's going to choose to keep it. He's going to be hit and brought down right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Unfortunately, he really had nowhere to run. He almost had a lane, but was stopped up really quickly. Nonetheless, you have the man who made the amazing catch in that second quarter, Ryan Wilmore at the far sideline. You have Emmanuel and Cade Schmitz bunched up on the near sideline. Send Newborn in motion. Newborn's going to choose to keep it on the jet sweep. He's going to have the ball, but there's going to be a flag on the play. It's probably going to be holding against the Raiders. Yep, it is. So it's going to send it back 10, so it's going to be now 2nd and 10. No yards on the play anyways for Newborn, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately, usually when you see a holding call, it makes them get a bigger gain. Usually the reason why they hold is to be able to get those yardage up, is to be able to get that first down. But even with the holding penalty, they still couldn't even get a yard on the play. They were brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
So Cato Brown. It's going to be 2nd and long now. Puts his receiver in motion. He's in the pocket, firing over the center, but it's going to be an incomplete pass intended receiver, Emmanuel Asachukwu, 3rd down and now long. 3rd and 22 is where it's going to be marked, but I don't think the scoreboard quite has that right. Looks like a 3rd and 20. So 3rd and almost a quarter of the field from the Raiders' own 48-yard line. 13:42 on the clock of this first drive. Takes snap back, throwing play once again. Here comes the pressure, but Cato's going to have a lane down the near sideline. He's going to be hit and brought down. He just gets back to his original line of scrimmage. Actually, he's going to have 12 on the play. He's down to the 40-yard line. The Raiders are going to either send the punting team or they're going to choose to keep it here, but they do. They're going to go for it on 4th down. I don't see why not, actually, at this point.
That was great recognition by Cato Brown. He saw the zone defense that the Renegades backed up into, and even the closest person to him, number 25, Mason Saba, he was in at the linebacker position. All the linebackers were sagging off. So he saw that, and he saw daylight, so he took it.
Ryan Wilmore out the far sideline. We might see a pass to him. He's going to be running on a stick route. Cato's going to be feeling the pressure, and he's going to be brought down. It's a 4th down and no play there for the Raiders. The defense is now onto the field. Stop for the Renegade defense.
On the stoppage was Sheridan for Bakersfield. The ball gets turned over to the Renegades.
It seemed like the past few plays when they ran that zone defense as well, they had so many guys on the defensive line. They had 5 guys on the defensive line, so they're trying to stack the box with the three linebackers and the 5 defensive linemen. They try to stack the box as much as they can since they know that Isaiah Johnson will get the ball, or as we saw Cato Brown try to have a quarterback keeper when he saw that none of his wide receivers were open.
So the Renegade offense stumbles a little bit in that second quarter. They're going to hand it off, and that's going to be a huge loss of yards here. Lameshio Hill was on the run there for the play for the Renegades, but the Raiders stopped that run very quickly.
Brett Herron with a nice play, number 32.
That's a loss of about 3 or 4, 2nd and 14.
Now 2nd and 13. Once again, don't listen to the PA. Never marks it right. No offense, Wally D does a great job here at Moorpark College.
True.
Jordan Flack, the defensive end on the play. You have Gallus, takes a snap back, rolling out to the outside, but he's going to be hit by James Perryman, but he's able to get the pass off, and he does. It's a receiver that we have not seen yet, number 89 for the Renegades, and he has enough for not just enough, just barely, almost a first down, but it was number 89 of the 4 pages of roster spots that they have.
Yes, a lot of players. Just
Logan
like
Soto, the tight end, he was able to shoot up the middle. Tight ends being really, I think, my favorite offensive player on the roster for any team. I love the position just because it works. You can throw the ball. They're a run blocker. They're everything. It's going to be a high snap out of the Wildcat formation, and holy cow, wow. Vickers is going to get a handful of Raiders in his face. The Raiders saw that coming, but Vickers nowhere to go. The fast legs of Vickers was not able to push the ball up the field. But Jesse Landman for the Raiders able to get the big stop there. And it's going to be a new player out on the field, number 22 for the Raiders. We haven't seen him on special teams, but it's Corbin Covey. He's usually on kickoff return, but has now been moved to punt return. And facing the punt from number 31, that's Abraham Katona. And the punt is up, and it will be there.
Fair catch called.
Covey going to let it. I don't know if that was in the end zone or not, but they didn't call it dead, so we'll see.
It seems like they're calling it the 2-yard line. Corbin Covey is not known for that punt return, but he has 206 yards for 1 touchdown this season at the wide receiver position.
So the Raiders put in a deep hole here that's actually going to be spotted on the 3-yard line. Familiar territory for the Raiders. They were there a couple times during the first half, especially during that drive when Ryan made that incredible catch on that far sideline.
Yes, he almost saved the drive.
Should have been a first down, according to people
have.
who were near the sideline, so interesting enough. Cato. It's a fumble, and it looks like it's picked up by the Renegades. We'll see where it ends up going. And there's going to be flags on the play. We'll see what happens.
Seems like unsportsmanlike conduct, possibly.
So the Renegades might come out with a huge break here. They're going to call a timeout. There was a man down on the field. The trainers are out there, but I don't think they're going to be escorting him off the field.
Yes, and that's definitely not a good sight when you see some of your players walk off gingerly, especially those big boys up front. Those offensive linemen, you need those players.
Shake out the details.
That was number 55, Marciano Martinez.
Looks here that like the penalty is going to be against the Raiders. It's going to be half the distance to the goal line, but see where this ends up actually. Oh, it's going to be against the Renegades.
At the conclusion of the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 30, 15 yards from the end. First down, Bakersfield.
So it's going to send the ball back a little bit. Bakersfield now putting it inside the red zone nonetheless with the fumble. Seems like whenever the Raiders are trying to get something going on offense, something bad, terribly bad happens to them.
Yes, they always get set back somehow, of course, with this fumble.
Gallus out of the gun. Has 2 receivers to his right. Takes a snap, fakes the handoff. He's looking downfield, trying to find someone in the end zone, but he doesn't have a receiver, and that's going to be thrown into the ground. Intended receiver number 17, who almost had a move inside of the corner there, is Jaquel Tomlin, the intended receiver, but nowhere to go. The ball was thrown straight into the ground. It's going to be 2nd and now 10.
And Jaquel Tomlin, he actually had an out route at around the 10-yard line that actually looked like he was wide open. Gallus did not see him, though. He hesitated a little bit. He eventually threw it to him, but, of course, as we saw, that was an incomplete pass, but he was open for just a slight bit.
10:53 left on the clock in the 3rd quarter. It's going to be a bunched receiver set to the left side. They're going to be playing out of the gun. Gallus takes a snap. He's looking downfield, throwing play. He's going to try and find Vickers on the outside, and there's going to be an incomplete pass thrown all the way out of the end zone. Vickers wasn't even tall enough to get to that one. It doesn't matter how high you're going to jump for that ball. That was thrown way over his head. It's now 3rd and 10 from the Raiders' 17-yard line. 10:47 on the clock. We'll see what they choose to do here. They had a chance to kick a field goal earlier, but weren't able to do so. It would still make this game a 2-score game. Gallus, once again, in the gun, under some pressure. He's going to choose to run it. He's going to be hit from behind, but not before what looks to be a first down.
This quarterback is taking a lot of big hits.
And they're going to call for the first down, and it's going to be now 1st and goal from the Raiders. It looks to be 6-yard line. .10:30, the clock still runs.
First and goal.
Gallus did have some good recognition on the play. He was able to see that the linebackers were stepping back a little bit, so he saw the coverage wide open in the middle of the field and went for it.
Almost getting the defense off guard there with the clap and delayed snap count, but it's going to be Hill running to the outside, but he's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage with a loss of 1. It's going to be now 2nd and 7, or 2nd and goal. Excuse me, it's going to be a loss of 2 yards.
2nd and 10.
2nd and 8 from the Raiders' 8-yard line. 26 seconds on the play clock. 9:53 left in the 3rd quarter. Vickers is going to be playing out of the slot this time. They're going to have Tomlin on the far sideline. It's a fake handoff. The ball is going to be thrown to a completely wide open Derek Vickers, and he's going to have another touchdown. The Raiders are running out of points here that they need to make up because, you know, as you see the game progress, clock is at 9:30. There's a lot of time on the clock, but that's a lot of scores that have to be made up with an offense that isn't working at the moment.
Yes, and Vickers, he was able to look at the defense. That was zone defense that they ran, so the linebackers almost looked like a cover 2. And the linebackers, they were not in that position where they should have been. That middle linebacker should have been in the middle of the field where Vickers went. But Vickers, he was able to see that the coverage was wide open, go there, and, of course, that was completed. Gallus, of course, looking at his wide receiver, his main man, and was able to fit it right in the hole.
So Renegades 20, Raiders 7. They're down what would be considered 2 scores. But it's tough to say because they have to score 2 touchdowns in order to get ahead here. Even if they did score 2 touchdowns, they'd actually be up 1 point because of the missed point after attempt because of the muff snap. You got Newborn and Farmer out to take the kick for the Raiders. We'll see if Farmer can work some magic here on this return. We saw him with the long return last time. Bakersfield kicker has been putting it down to at least the 1-yard line, but he's not going to get anywhere close to that. It's now at the 10, but Farmer's going to drop the ball, picked up at the 5. He's going to be hit, spun around, and dropped down around the 10. But they're going to mark him with forward progress at the 14.
Farmer did have a lot of daylight in front of him. Of course, if he fumbled the ball, so that, of course, minimize his return. But if he did catch that ball with the blockers that he had on the right side of him, the closer to our side of the sideline, he would have been able to cut back to the right and been able to pass by everybody. The blockers were right in front of him. He had so much daylight, but that fumble, of course, did not let him do so.
Cato playing out of the gun. Sends Covey in motion. Takes snap back, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson diving forward, gets a gain of 5 on the play. Good recognition of finding the hole there and punching it through. It's going to be 2nd and 5 now for the Raiders. Like I said before, with a lateral team like this, they're going to have to find a way to get their running game going in order to open up the defense. Because if they want to make any passing attempts, they're going to have to hope that they can make better passes than the one that Wilmore had to haul in. That's going to be another running play, but nowhere to go.
Yes, you can't expect every wide receiver to be able to make a catch just like Wilmore did. If you're going to have a passing game, you have to have some accurate passes right to the chest of the wide receiver. You want to hit him in the numbers.
Wilmore still playing on the far sideline, Asachukwu on the near sideline. Raiders forced with another 3rd and 5 situation. Cato takes a snap. It's a low snap, but he's going to be rolling out to the near sideline, trying to find Emmanuel Asachukwu, who has the catch, and it should be a first down on the play. They're going to call it complete, and they're going to move the chains forward. The Raiders finally have their 2nd first down of the game. I think that was the other kind of headline of the first half, is the fact that they only had 1 first down following the completion of Ryan Wilmore's catch. That was his first reception of the day. Out of the gun, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson fighting for room, and he gets a gain of 2 on the play, up to the Raiders' 29-yard line. 7 minutes and 53 seconds left on the clock.
Speaking about the first downs, they're not highly rated in California for Moorpark, but their first downs, they have 98 this season, only having 2 in 1 whole game so far up until this 3rd quarter. That's very surprising.
7:36 left on the clock. Isaiah out of the gun, still has Wilmore on the outside. He's going to fire, hit Wilmore. Wilmore's going to run on the almost a screen move. He's going to run towards the far sideline, falls down and slips, but he's going to be in there for a gain of what looks to be 6 on the play. It's now 3rd and 2. Had he not slipped there, he actually probably would have had a lot of running room. There is only a safety in his way.
Yes, and he was able to make a move around the defensive back.
Cato, out of a similar set as last time, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson fighting for room. He's going to break 1 tackle and breaks 2, and he's now hit and brought down around the 45. The Raiders are starting to drive with their 2nd first down of this series.
Going back to the play with Ryan Wilmore where he slipped, don't be too surprised if you see more slips in this game. There is some rain coming down in this second half. It started at halftime, so don't be too surprised this turf is getting a little wet and those cleats can slip.
Not quite to the extent of the Notre Dame game. And so Cato's going to be met with a lot of pressure there. Fires, tries to hit Emmanuel Asachukwu, but was unable to. Nonetheless, it was a good effort to get the ball out in that play.
If this game was like the Notre Dame game, Cato wouldn't have been able to do that.
No, he wouldn't have been able to run. He would have been slipping and sliding. The defenders would have slipped and slid as well. As they're trying to tackle him in the play. It's now 2nd and 10 from the Raiders' 45-yard line. 6:22 left on the clock in the 3rd quarter. Remember, time is going to be a factor here in this game. The Raiders chasing now 2 scores. Cato out of pistol, has 2 receivers. Takes a snap back. The wide receiver is running out. Emmanuel Asachukwu over the center. He's looking to fire, and he's going to throw out of bounds.
Pass incomplete, 3rd and 10.
So we'll see it's 3rd and 10 now. The Raiders forced another third down situation, trying to throw the ball more, but they're met with incomplete catches. We'll see if they put it back in the hands of Isaiah, though you might think that the Bakersfield defense is going to be impending the run here.
Yes,
they do so. They put a lot of players in the box, and they have their guys on spy, but Cato's going to choose to throw it again. He's going to fire on the run and hits Asachukwu, who's wrapped up. He's just rolled over, and he's brought down after a first down, so the Raiders get another first down. They're rolling on this drive.
Wow, 3 first downs in a row. Great drive here from the Raiders. That was actually not the best pass, but he did fit it in a window. That is Cato Brown to E-Man Emmanuel Asachukwu. He was able to fit it in the tightest of window possible so that he can make the catch and actually reel it in, so it is a completion and a first down.
Cato out of pistol once again, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson going to be choosing towards the near sideline. He's going to break 1 tackle. He breaks almost 2. He continues to go, and it's a touchdown! Moorpark Raiders! It was Isaiah Johnson with the hard run. Downhill, he gets hit multiple times and isn't brought down. What a run by Isaiah, and the first offensive touchdown of the night. Brought to you in part by the hat with world-famous pastrami. Moorpark Raider football is in full swing here, and it is now 13-20. Gavin Todd out on the field. Dissect that play for me, Ryan.
Amazing run right there by Isaiah Johnson, but it all started with E-Man. Emmanuel Osochukwu, he was able to block one of the linebackers coming in that was shadowing Isaiah Johnson. With that block, Isaiah was able to get past one of the defensive backs, and he just had a matchup one-on-one with the safety, able to break a tackle and go in for the touchdown. But great block by E-Man.
Absolutely. All players doing their jobs here. You have couple grabs by Wilmore, a couple grabs by Emmanuel, a couple nice runs by Isaiah, sets it up, and they just obliterate the defense on that play. And Osachukwu lays out the key block, and that's it right there. Gavin Todd, his true foot, puts it through the uprights. It's now a 14-20 ball game. 5 minutes and 38 seconds left on the clock. The Raiders now have a little breathing room to be able to come up with a huge defensive stop here and possibly tie this game up or take the lead.
Yes, and down, like you said, just down by 6. That is not a big margin at all. Of course, even with DJ Farmer returning that kick for a touchdown, that's 6 points right there. And then, of course, Gavin Todd, he is basically automatic from that PAT.
It's Vickers and Tomlin out to take the kick from Todd.
Tomlin and Vickers back deep.
Gavin lining up for the kick. The Raiders have to do something here on defense in order to stop the bleeding, which they've already put the Band-Aid on. And it's going to be Vickers with the kickoff return. He's running up, coming towards the near sideline. He's at the 20. He's almost stripped of the ball, but continues to hold on to it, and he has free space all the way down the field, and he makes a juking move, and he's all the way down to the 30, the 20, and he's down to the 10, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Renegades.
Right when I mentioned DJ Farmer, the kick return, Vickers comes back and bites Moorpark in the butt with that one. That was a great play, though. As we mentioned, E-Man with the great block to set up Isaiah Johnson touchdown. Right here, number 34, Cameron Pacheco. He had a key block as well. It almost looked like a hold, but he was able to keep the defender back, able to block him. That's what led to Vickers cutting back to the middle of the field, going on the far sideline and getting the touchdown.
Bakersfield keeping it a 2-score game at this point. They didn't want any of that. They weren't looking for the Raiders to have an attempt to come back at this game. It's going to be Young to kick the field goal, and it looked to the left, but he did put it up and through. Now, Renegades 27, Raiders 14, still 2 scores.
Yeah, still 2 scores. 2 back-to-back plays, though, with great blocking. You don't really see too much great blocking plays in a junior college football game, but right now, E-Man, big wide receiver, comes up with a big block, and then Pacheco comes up with a big block to be able to get that kick return for a touchdown.
So we'll see if Farmer or Newburn are able to return the favor, if you will.
TJ Newborn is probably pretty giddy back there. He has not been able to return a kick tonight, and the only time was the punt return, which he fumbled. Excuse me, I think that was actually a kickoff return.
No, it was a punt return.
Okay, yes, it was a punt return that he fumbled, but he has not been able to return a kick tonight, so he must be pretty excited. He hopes the ball lands in his arms.
Claim your prize and congratulations from In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger's all about.
They're looking for the long kick here. Long run up. We'll see where the kick ends up going, and it's going to be towards Farmer. He's going to take the ball, and he's going to run up to the 20, and he's going to be hit and brought down at the 24, so not a huge gain on the play. Only about 10 yards. Excuse me, only about 15. Well, the Raiders' offense was showing a lot of aggression and a lot of power last drive. We'll see if they can carry over this time. Not a lot of time off the field. They're just like one and done almost. We'll see how they line up this time. They played a lot of 4 wideout spreads, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. This time it's the same thing, except they have their receivers bunched up on the left-hand side. Wilmore in the set, but it's going to be run to Isaiah Johnson, who's going to bounce off one guy and bounce off 2. He's going to be tripped up and brought down. It's a gain of 2 on the play. Second and now 8. From the Raiders' own 27 or 26-yard line, almost 26 and a half. 5 minutes left on the clock in the third quarter. Again, time playing a factor here. The Raiders have to make up 2 scores. And they have to keep Bakersfield from scoring. Cato fakes a handoff to Johnson. It's going to be Emmanuel Asachukwu, who almost had the grab, but it was incomplete. He might have taken a step out of bounds as well, so we don't know whether or not that would have been considered an eligible receiver or not. But it's now 3rd and 8 on the play. Excuse me, 3rd and 7. So they're officially going to mark it with a gain of 3 for Isaiah Johnson's last run. And look at that. You can see the rain coming down onto the field.
Yes, it is a rainy day in Moorpark tonight.
Cato rolling out to the far sideline, looking to throw, fires, and it's low and incomplete. Intended receiver Ryan Wilmore, but he had no space at all. The corner who was playing on him kept a tight coverage.
Especially with a wide receiver like Wilmore. You want, in the mind of a cornerback, is you want to make sure that you stay with that wide receiver. You want to make sure that you are always with him everywhere that he goes. That's why there was so tight coverage. Of course, with his athleticism, he's able to jump over cornerbacks, but at least do your part and have tight coverage on him. Make sure he cannot escape you for a big slant route or a big play, and that is what the cornerback did on the play.
Evan Benson out to punt. Wetness not playing a factor in the way that he's able to punt the ball off. It's going to bounce around the 40. We'll see where it ends up going, and the Raiders are going to pick it up at the 37-yard line. Excuse me, 38.
We're going to see Vickers again, and actually Vickers, a little flashback for you. 2 years ago when the Bakersfield Renegades beat the Moorpark Raiders, they were down by 6 points in the 4th quarter with only 15 seconds left, and Vickers scored a touchdown to be able to win the game, and that was actually his 5th touchdown of the game. 5 touchdowns in one game that actually also broke the record for California junior colleges. So he is very he loves to come to this field, Griffin Stadium. He loves to come here because he has so much success.
4 minutes and 26 seconds left on the clock. They're going to hand it off to Hill. Hill coming towards the near sideline. He's going to be tripped up and brought down after a gain of 6 on the play. Downhill run. He eventually just tripped over one of the Raiders who was laying on the ground. He's out to the 40, what looks to be 3-yard line, 2nd and now 4. Excuse me, 2nd and 5 is only a gain of 5, though. That's where they're going to mark it. 4:01 on the clock in the 3rd quarter. Time is flying off the clock at this point.
Yes, this is. It's a very high-paced game that we're seeing.
They're going to be playing out of the gun. Hands it off to Hill again. Hill going to be running for some more yards, but it's only going to be a gain of 1. That's where they're going to mark him on the play. So 3rd and 4.
And a few others.
Lemeshio Hill getting a lot of the workload here on offense. We see why Vickers has a lot of yards as running back, because whenever he does end up getting the ball as running back, he ends up busting out huge chunk plays.
Yes, and as we see Hill, he's usually just a little bit of ground and pound. It's just a few chunk yards here and there. He does have 78 carries for the season, while Vickers only has 45.
The Raiders have their big boys up front, and pending the run, it's going to be one-on-one coverage. Safety's not out, but it's going to be a reception to number 17. That's their trusted receiver, Jake Tomlin. Gallus able to hit him in stride as he's running up. That's a 1st down, and they're now into Raiders territory at the 39-yard line. It's 2 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock.
Great play call by the coaches. Jakel Tomlin, excuse me. He actually did almost a slant route. He saw that the cornerback was playing off him, and the quarterback was able to fit in the tightest of windows. But Tomlin, he was able to see that the cornerback was sagging off. That's what you want to see. You want to see your matchup and how close he is to you.
He was using his speed to his advantage there. They're going to have all their primary receivers to the right-hand side, none to the left, and it's going to be Hill behind in the pistol formation. It's going to be a screen to Vickers. Vickers, once he finds free space, he's really dangerous, and he's going to be up there with another gain of 10 yards. It's a 1st down for Bakersfield. They're down to the 29-yard line.
And great blocking on that play once again. Number 8, Jasmine Thind. Excuse me. Yes, that was Jasmine Thind. And also back on that play was number 17, Jakel Tomlin, who laid some nice blocks, and that was actually able to give Vickers that 1st down.
2 minutes and 19 seconds now on the clock for the Raiders. Excuse me, for the Renegades in this 3rd quarter. They're going to have 3 receivers out, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. You're going to see Vickers on the near sideline. You're going to have Tomlin on that far sideline. They're going to hand it off to Hill again. Hill fighting real hard to get more yards out of that. It's a gain of 4 on the play. It's now 2nd and 6 from the Raiders 25.
Johnson on the stoppage for Moorpark.
Clock continues to run. The Raiders 14, the Renegades 27.
It seems like the weather's not really affecting this game too much.
It's almost a light mist. This is California weather for those of you who are watching outside of our state. We get weird weather, such as it's 60 degrees outside and it looks like it's raining, but it's actually not water coming down from the sky. It just looks like it is. It's fake weather. It's invented by Hollywood. The pass is going to be out to Vickers to the outside sideline, but he's going to be brought down and pushed out of bounds with a gain of what looks to be 4 yards on the play, just shy of the first down. It's now 3rd and 1, down to the 21-yard line.
In SoCal, we would call this flooding.
Yeah, this is
light mist.
You guys better watch out. Turn your floodlights on. And they're going to call a timeout, so we're going to step away for a moment. For our advertisers, well, we have a player injured down on the field. We'll see you in a few moments.
Let us celebrate innovations that propel our species forward. The crescent wrench, the chainsaw, the labradoodle, and steam. Steam harnessed to liberate the flavor of premium carved turkey and cheddar cheese before a culinary coronation of peppercorn ranch and pepper bacon. Give a man meat, and he can make you a sandwich. Teach a man to use a steamer, and he can make you a sub fit for a firefighter. Firehouse Subs, the hero of all.
We're back here following this injury timeout. We're planning on going down to Nathan Espinoza to see what he has to say about this injury. Let's see if we can get him up. But once again, this isn't good because the Raiders are already working on weak limbs, if you will.
Yes, and J.J. Durden out there, that was actually the cornerback who was injured on the play.
Yeah, it was. So he's, I think, their #1 cornerback. So, Nathan, can you go ahead and tell us what's going down on the sideline right now?
Yeah, I didn't get the exact player's name. He's just getting up and going right now. Sidelines are chirping a little bit. They're checking his hands to make sure he's got movement in his hands and his limbs. It took him a little bit to get up right now. I think he may have just took a little bit of a hard hit. We still have Mike Jones out there, and we'll probably see Michael Hightower in now because we're losing this guy right now on corner.
Now, do you have any idea of how the Raiders are going to attack this game in regards to their defense now that we're on a little bit of limited personnel? How are they going to stop the Renegades offense? Have you heard anything from the coaches?
I haven't heard anything from the coaches yet. Again, they keep reiterating resilience. They're just trying to fight through this right now. A lot of wear down, and we're losing the ball. The ball's really slippery.
Well, thank you, Nathan. We'll come back to you later in the 4th quarter. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
So the Raiders, I believe, able to get a penalty against the Renegades. It's going to send the ball back. So now it's going to be a false start, which we should have seen because we saw movement from Flack on the outside. He's playing on the D end towards the far sideline. It's going to send the ball back. It's now 3rd and 6. 35 seconds left on the clock in the 3rd quarter, and it's going to be James Perryman, and wow, it's a fumble, and the ball could be picked up by the Raiders here. We don't know who has the ball exactly, but it looks like it's picked up by the Raiders, and it is.
Wow.
It's number 43, Jordan Flack, the one who forced the ball completely out of the hands. James Perryman on the original tackle. What an incredible play by the Raiders defense to step it up here and make a huge turnover. The Raiders offense has a chance now to come onto the field and play the ball and get a touchdown.
And that was that dynamic duo that we were talking about, the two defensive ends, Jordan Flack, James Perryman. They were just amazing on that play, and if you saw, they stacked the box, ran some people up the middle to allow Jordan Flack and James Perryman to get to the quarterback on the outside.
Yeah, Gallus did not have any time when he got the ball. He was immediately under pressure, and the offensive line could not hold Flack or Perryman. It's going to be Johnson up the middle. He's going to be brought down after a gain of 6 on the play, a good run up the center, so the Raiders establishing the run game still. And there's going to be a flag on the play. We'll see what happened here.
Seems like it was after the play that the flag occurred.
And it looks like it's going to be called against the Raiders now. That's not what you want to see.
This game has been quite a bit chippy, of course. They're in conference matchup, so you will see this a lot tonight.
15-yard penalty, second down.
So they're going to give a personal foul. It's a 15-yard penalty, going to send it down. It might as well have been a holding call from their original first down. It's going to be 2nd and 20 now. Almost 20. And 2nd and 18. Personal fouls are not what you need, especially in these situations here.
That's the end of the third quarter.
And that's going to be the end of the third quarter. So we're going to take a second to
Raiders on the attack.
talk about our sponsors here. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. PennyMac. Great rates, great service, fast close. Simi Valley Buick GMC. The Dugout Sports Grill, Ventura County's favorite sports grill. Olive Garden. When you're here, your family. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. And finally, Latin Auto Group. Family owned and operated for over 45 years. Always close to home. They're going to change field position, but once again, fact is, personal fouls are not in any way helpful to the Raiders.
Especially when they were already kind of marching down. They already had a first down lurking, but now they're backed up, as you said, 18 yards. Excuse me, now 2nd down and, 18. That is going to be a big loss for them. They're going to have to regain some composure to be able to get this first down.
Well, finally you have Wilmore on the near sideline, Asachuco on the far sideline. You have Covey on the bunched up far sideline. It's going to be a 3-receiver spread out of the pistol. Fakes the handoff. Cato, a lot of time in the pocket, hits Wilmore. Wilmore falls over, and he's going to be down with a gain of looks to be 10 on the play. So brings it up. It's now going to be 3rd and 8. What a good catch by Wilmore to be able to just go down and get the ball.
And as we heard by Nathan Espinoza, our field reporter, the ball is very slick right now. So Ryan Wilmore to make these catches, that is just a testament to his hands, how soft they are. Out
of the pistol once again, and they're going to have the defense. And Cato breaks one tackle. He's going to fire way downfield. Hits Asachuco. It's a reception. He's down inside the 16-yard line. What a great play by Cato just to evade the tackle and get down there. Holy cow, Emmanuel Asachuco just completely wide open, and Asachuco fires as hard as he can with every little bit of might he had, and he sends it way down the field. The Raiders inside the red zone now.
To be able to launch that ball down the field with that slick ball, that is just amazing that he was able to do that with that much accuracy as well.
Pistol concept here for the Raiders. Hands it off to Johnson. Johnson breaks one tackle, breaks two. He's at the 5. He's brought down at the 3-yard line. Almost another touchdown there for the Raiders.
Great run play as well, but if you saw Corbin Covey, number 22, on the far side, he had a nice block that actually let Isaiah Johnson get the first down.
It's going to be Wilmore, the lone receiver to the left-hand side. He's way out there. Hands it off. Cato Brown, quarterback keeper. Is he into the end zone? It's a touchdown. Moorpark Raiders. How can you say they're coming back? That's the Raiders offense right there. Showing you they're not done yet. It's just the beginning of the fourth quarter. 13:44 left in the game. Can't believe I'm already saying that. It's 8:06. It feels like the game just started.
Yes, it has been a very quick game, and Cato Brown, he has 195 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing this season with another rushing touchdown right here.
So Gavin Todd misses the point after. That's something we haven't seen going back to week 1. But it's 20-27, so the Raiders now actually on even terms. If they score a touchdown, it's a tie ball game. But they have to stop the Renegades on special teams here, which that has been the ultimate test for the Raiders, has been stopping them on special teams.
Yes, that has been, and they kind of are in a good position right now, the Raiders are. Of course, they are down by 7, but with that big pass play to Osochukwu, that just kind of gave them a little more momentum going in, and seeing their star quarterback, Cato Brown, sacrifice his body to be able to jump in the end zone and give them that almost going to be 6-point deficit, but it is 7-point deficit now. Just seeing that, they are just getting fired up right now. You can see the sideline, you can see the fans. They are just waiting to see their Raiders get another chance on offense.
So you're used to seeing them out there. It's Vickers and Tomlin. Vickers with the really long return last time. Hopefully the Raiders will be better about it this time. The high kick is going to go to Tomlin. He's going to take it around the 15-yard line. He's running away from us towards the far sideline. He's going to find a lane, and he's going to be down to the 34. Like I said, dangerous here on special teams.
Yes, and speaking about dangerous, as I said a little earlier on, 45 yards is the longest return that Tomlin had, but 23.6, so about 24 yards he has per return, which is almost the same as Vickers. Vickers has 25 yards per return. So both of those, they are a very dynamic duo. They're very good, very fast at returning those kicks.
Well, here we go. They're going to be playing out of the pistol concept, out of the gun here. Gallus takes a snap. They're going to hand it off to Ayers, who you haven't seen since the second quarter. 13:30 on the clock. They're going to choose to run the ball. But there's no gain on the play.
Ayers has been used tonight. Of course, as you said, he has not been used since the second quarter, but in the first half, he was used a lot tonight, even though he has not been used too much during the season. He only has 89 yards rushing for 2 touchdowns.
So Gallus out of shotgun. Takes a snap, looking to throw, and he hits Vickers. Vickers has a lane. He's really fast. And holy cow.
Wow.
Wow, he saw his head snap backwards. He got laid out on that one. I'm surprised he's still walking. He got absolutely smashed. And like you hear the PA announcer, that's Hayden Galvin, number 17 for the Raiders. Just kept his head up, but just knocked him to the ground. I mean, wow. So it's now 3rd and 3. The Raiders with a huge third down situation. Vickers is going to be playing his back. He's now going to be put into the slot. They're going to put Hill onto the field. He's now the feature back coming to the other side of Gallus towards the near sideline. Takes a snap back. They're looking for Vickers. Vickers hauls it in, but he's going to be hit and brought down. No flags on the field. It's 4th down and what looks to be, they're going to keep it 4th and 3. So the Raiders,
you can credit number 1, Mike Jones.
Here you go. Here's their offensive opportunity.
Yes, this is the offensive opportunity that they needed, and that was actually a great play by Mike Jones, number 1. He actually overstepped it. He actually went for the interception, but he was able to keep with Vickers, and he was able to bring him down. Vickers was not able to slip his grasp, but great play right there, great recognition. He was able to read the quarterback.
It's a low punt, and the punt is going to be out to the 25. It's going to continue to roll, and they're going to let it go. It's out to the 15. But don't count the Raiders out. The last time they scored, they started the ball on their own 3-yard line. So we'll see how that ends up turning out.
With only about 11 and a half minutes in the game, this is going to be a big drive. This could be a game-tying drive.
Possibly the most important drive of the game here for the Raiders. We'll see how it turns out for them. But you see, they have their playmakers on the field. They have Johnson, Asachukwu, Wilmore, Newborn.
First and 10 Raiders.
Out of the pistol set like they were running last drive. And now you can see Bakersfield is dropping their DBs backwards. And it's going to be Isaiah Johnson running through the center, puts his head down and fights through one tackle, and the play is going to be called dead. That's a gain of 12 yards and a first down for the Raiders. They're up to the 26-yard line, 11:21 on the clock.
It seemed like Isaiah Johnson almost injured one of the players. One of the players was still down on the ground. He was able to truck him, of course, with Isaiah Johnson being his size, but that was number 28, Matthew Hubble.
It really helps out when you have a feature back like Johnson.
Yes, it definitely does when you have that type of back that can create his own holes.
They have Newborn, who is on the jet sweep, and Cato is going to be the quarterback keeper. But he's only going to get a gain of what looks to be 3 on the play.
And even with a gain of 3, just a little bit of ground and pound offense. Of course, you do not want to waste too much clock, but it may be a good idea to waste some clock so that the Renegades cannot come back and be able to score. You want to make this a fairly long drive.
A little bit of personnel mix-up here for Bakersfield. I don't think they even know what they're doing. It's 7 seconds on the play clock. The Raiders,
they reset it.
What is going on here? It's like a stoppage of play almost. 40 seconds on the play clock now. It's going to be 10:35 on the game clock. Out of the gun, hands it off to Johnson once again. Johnson finds a lane, and he's in there for another first down. It's another gain of 12 for Johnson. He is just having quite the running game tonight. And that's what they have to do. They have to keep establishing that running game so that they have to bring the DBs into the box. Otherwise, if the Raiders don't do that and continue to throw, they're going to know that there's a throwing threat from both sides of the field with Asachukwu and Wilmore.
And you could tell a big difference between the first half and second half. We were mentioning the big storyline, only 1 first down in the first half. Now they have basically almost 10 first downs in this second half.
It's going to be a handoff to Isaiah Johnson, who falls over, and they're going to call it dead. I don't know if he actually dropped the ball, and they're going to throw a flag on the play.
Flag on the play.
Seemed like he was a little frustrated.
I would be too if I slipped up and fell down, but that's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct and probably a 15-yard penalty here.
Of course, with the weather being as it is, of course, Nathan was saying that the ball was a little bit slick. That means the field is a little slick. We saw Wilmore slip, and now we saw Isaiah Johnson slip.
So it's a 5-yard penalty on the play. If we could get the camera to zoom out for a second, you could see the mist coming over the stadium here. This is absolutely incredible. I've actually never seen the stadium look like this. Is unbelievable. There you go.
Yeah, it's almost like a thick layer of fog, it almost looks like. It's just a mist.
Just a giant mist. Okay. So, little side note there. So it's Cato Brown steps into the pocket. There's going to be a flag on the field, most likely for holding there. It's going to be, I don't know who had the reception there. Wilmore with the reception. I don't know how he got all the way over to that side of the field. Well, we'll see how far they send it back this time. Like I said before, I believe it was holding from the right guard.
Yes, and another penalty against the Raiders. That definitely is not something that you want to see if you're a Raider fan.
That's another 10-yard penalty, so bad news for the Raiders. So 2nd and 15, now it's going to be 2nd and 25, so a quarter of the field. This is something that you don't get to see every single day. With this weather, though, definitely playing a factor. You can see it here. But the Raiders going to have to fight through adversity.
Yes, they will. And, of course, only being down by 7 points with 9 minutes left, they could do that. But they have to stop these penalties.
Penalties being a huge storyline of the first 5 games of the season. We're now finally in the second half. Cato in the pocket. He's going to be hit from behind, and he's going to be brought down again behind the line of scrimmage. He's not getting any relief from Bakersfield now. 3rd and really long.
Wow, 2 penalties, a slip, and now a sack.
Clayton for Bakersfield.
After a few first downs,
I don't even know if I can count this many yards.
I know.
Let's see, 10, 20, 30. Excuse me, 10, 20, 30. It's essentially 30 yards. It's 3rd and 30.
3rd and 30, that is.
You give it to Isaiah Johnson. He's going to find a lane. He's going to break a tackle. Break maybe 2. He's going to do a good job of getting them back. That was almost a run of 20 yards on the play. But now it's going to be the punting team out on the field. The Raiders defense going to have to come up huge with another defensive stop. Remember, time a huge factor in this game so far, but the Raiders still have all of their timeouts. 8 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock. It's going to be Tomlin out to take the punt. He's been under a number of punts so far. And the punt is going to be bad news to the 45.
Not a good end of that drive.
So they don't even get field position out of it for defense.
Yes, but with great field position for the Renegades, they will definitely need that. Of course, with how they were struggling the last possession, they need to be able to step it up and take it to that Raiders defense. The Raiders defense has been playing great with Jordan Flack and James Perryman just annihilating those tackles on the defensive end position.
You have to bring up the fact, though, the Raiders defense has been playing very well so far in this game, at least in the second half, and we'll see if they can come up here with a stop. So they hand it off to Hill. Hill's going to be bouncing off, and he's going to be brought down, and there's going to be a flag on the play. They're going to call for a face mask, most likely.
Yes, we even saw the helmet coming off. Seems like he is down in some pain right now,
and
though.
He is on the ground. And we're going to jump away and go to commercial break really quick. We'll see you after the commercial. We hope the player that's Lemeshio Hill is okay.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
We're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Lemeshio Hill able to walk off on his own power. He was down for a while. Unfortunate because of the face mask penalty, but that's going to put the ball for the Renegades all the way down to the Raiders' 36-yard line.
And that was a scary play because not only was there a face mask penalty, his helmet came off and he was falling towards the ground. So an easy concussion play. So we hope that he's okay.
Yeah, he's going to probably go through concussion protocol with the trainers on the other end of the field. We'll see if he returns to action tonight. They're going to have a split back set here for the Renegades. And they're going to hand it off. It's going to be Ayers on the run, but he hasn't been able to get any yards so far in this second half. Actually, I think every time he has touched the ball, he's been stopped up at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, he's only been able to get it to the line of scrimmage. In the first half, he actually had some pretty nice gains, but right now it seems like the Moorpark defense has his number.
It leaves Bakersfield with really only Vickers and Tomlin because Lemeshio Hill has been taking most of the snaps at running back, and that kind of limits your diversity here. And they're going to fake the handoff. It's a throwing play looking for Tomlin on the outside. He's going to fire over the center. It's Vickers going into the end zone, and it's going to be incomplete. He almost had his hands on it, but the wet ball doesn't make it any easier for him to play there.
That was a great route ran by Vickers. He was able to get on the inside of Mike Jones, and he was able to just use his speed. He actually did almost a little bit of a double move. He had a little hesitation, and with that speed, any little hesitation, the cornerback stops. He makes sure that he does not come back for a comeback route, and that's what Mike Jones did. But Vickers did do the hesitation, kept running, and then was able to get open.
Yeah, had he caught the ball, there was, well, no room, but he was in the end zone anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference. And it's going to be a running play. And like I said before, Ferguson Ayers, nowhere to go. It's a 4th down, and we're going to see the punting team come onto the field. They're going to try and put it in the coffin corner. The Raiders are going to have 6:31 to score a touchdown and tie this game up. We'll see if we go into overtime.
Corbin Covey, rather, check that. Covey, number 22.
Corbin Covey
will await the punt.
Out onto the field. He's going to be standing around the 10-yard line. We'll see where they send it. The punter has been good for the Renegades so far this game. The number 31, Abraham Katona. He gets a high snap, but he's able to get the punt off. It's going to have a lot of hang time. There's going to be no one in the vicinity. And the ball is going to roll down to almost the 5-yard line, but it's going to be marked at the 7.
I think the Raiders might actually like being in their own red zone inside their own 10. It seems like they always score when they're in there, or they always have some success.
Well, they have all their weapons available to them. Wilmore on the field, Asachukwu on the field, Covey on the field, Johnson on the field.
And unlike the Renegades, they are not limited with the talent that they have.
They have a lot of different players who can play in a lot of different positions. So here it is. Cato from his own 2-yard line hands it off to Johnson, who's going to be in the center but nowhere to go on the play. The play is going to be called dead after a gain of 1 yard. Renegades quick to stop up that play.
Eddington for Bakersfield.
The clock continues to run. It's 5 minutes and 34 seconds left on the clock. They're now playing out of the pistol set. Wilmore all alone out there on the left-hand side of Cato Brown. He's on the near sideline. Cato takes a snap back, hands it off to Johnson once again. Johnson breaks one tackle, and he slides, and it's a gain of 3 yards on the play, 3rd and now 7.
Another slide as well by these players. This weather is definitely doing some damage, and we see an injured player out on the field.
So that's going to give us a chance to thank some sponsors really quick, ladies and gentlemen. First is Boost Mobile. Great devices for the right price. And UCLA Health, it begins with you. Luminary Photo. Photos today, memories forever. Firehouse Subs, the hero of all subs. And the California National Guard, what it takes, mind, body, and grit. That's going to be number 53 on the Raiders.
For the Raider offensive lineman.
That was Brian Angle.
Brian Angle,
Brian Angel.
Yeah.
Yes.
As number 53, Byron Angel.
Able to walk off on his own power. Sometimes you just get tweaked there on the knee. But it's 3rd and 5 now.
Just over 5 minutes to play.
So Cato, big down here out of the shotgun, takes snap back, rolling out to the near sideline. He's going to fire and try and hit Ryan Wilmore, even out of his reach. It's going to be 4th down, and here comes the punting team.
It almost looked like he threw it into quadruple coverage.
Yeah.
They were all over Wilmore.
I don't think Ryan's going to be able to make that catch there. A very tough and narrow window for him to be able to get his hands out.
If he made it, that might have been a Sports Center top 10 play.
if the one that he already made isn't going to be a top 10.
Yes.
Evan Benson from his own end zone is going to have to punt the ball, and you know it, Tomlin out to take the punt. No respect here. He's at the 45. High snap, but no one's going to be bothering to attack Benson. And Benson has a really long snap, and it's going to be Tomlin, who's going to choose to keep the ball, but he's going to almost have a lane up the near sideline, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds around the 36-yard line.
Wilmore on the force out as Tomlin.
Good coverage right there by the punting team of Moorpark. They were able to run down and keep Tomlin from getting a big gain.
It's actually Ryan Wilmore with the force out of bounds.
Yes, and Ryan Wilmore, we mentioned him getting all those catches, but now he's even doing things on special teams.
Yeah, he's a big special teams member for this Raiders special teams core. So we're going to see Gallus back onto the field, and they have the running back, so he looks like he cleared concussion protocol. That's number 2, Lemesio Hill. He was down for a while, but finally he's back now. Takes a snap back, is back to Lemesio. Lemesio looking to find a hole. He even pushed his offensive lineman out of the way, but he was only able to gain 2 yards on the play. It's 2nd and now 8. 4:28 on the clock. Time is a factor in this game now. The Raiders have a player down on the field. Now it's number 54.
Wow, first 53 and now 54, Jesse Landman.
Jesse Landman, he's one of the better linebackers that they have on their defense. So we're going to step away for a commercial break. We'll return after the player gets up. And we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Landman got up and he's okay, but he's being assisted over by the trainers.
It seems like it is great to see that these players aren't being injured and not being able to come back out. Of course, if you are following the Renegades, their running back, Lemesio Hill, he does have most of the carries, and with them having a 7-point lead with just about 4 minutes left in the game, they need to run out the clock as much as possible. So with Hill returning, that gives them another dimension where they are able to run out the clock.
4 minutes left on the clock, and it's going to be 20-second rundown time. I believe they're going to try to run it down as much as they physically can. Nine seconds on the play clock. It's going to be a delayed snap, and it's going to be to Vickers. He's going towards the far sideline. Is he going to have room? Just a little bit, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds with a gain of 1 yard on the play. So it's now 3rd and 6. 3:37, they're going to let it run. He was forced out of bounds, so it should have been stop clock. Unless I saw that wrong.
It seems like they're just continuing to run it.
Gallus out of the pistol set. Tries to get him on that delayed snap, but does not happen. It's going to be a run play again, but Vickers nowhere to go. Raiders really keen in on that.
Nice bit of effort.
It's 4th down now for the Renegades. So the Raiders choose to stop the clock here. 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Raiders trailing by 7 points, 20-27. And we're going to go ahead and go down or see if we can get a hold of our sideline reporter.
Yes, he has been doing
Nathan
great
Espinoza.
work.
We're going to go ahead and see if we can get a hold of him to see what's going on in the minds of the coaches for Moorpark College.
And he's been battling down on the field in this rain even.
So Nathan, there's a lot of stuff going on down on field. I presume you have a good insight onto how the coaches are reacting to these situations. I was wondering if you could give us some insight onto what's going on with the Raiders coaching staff here in this 4th down situation.
Raider fans, sponsored by Nationwide Insurance. Next week's game will be right here.
We're having a little bit of trouble getting Nathan up right now. We'll see what he's doing. Nathan, do you hear us?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. So did you hear my question? I was trying to see.
I did not.
Okay.
I apologize.
Well, we're trying to see right now, do you give us some insight onto what's going on with the Raiders coaching staff here? They have 3 minutes and 6 seconds left in the clock. What is going to be the game plan going forward in this 2-minute drill?
Yeah, this next, right before they got on, the 4-minute drill team came on for, 4-minute offense came on for Bakersfield. The big plan was to get them to turn it over really quick. They got this shut down, and now we're going to put this 2-minute offense in and start working this ball down the field. Start using guys like Emmanuel Osachukwu and Corbin Covey. He's going to have to get this ball moved down the field. We're dealing with a couple injuries from the defensive side, but nothing too serious.
Well, thank you, Nathan. We'll check in with you after this game is concluded. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
So there you heard it from Nathan. Raiders trying to get it to Osachukwu, Covey, and possibly Wilmore. They've been grinding the ball, and that's Isaiah Johnson coming towards the near sideline. He's looking for a hole. He's going to continue to run. He's hit and brought down. That's a first down, and he's pushed out of bounds, and that should be a flag on the play. He was hit far after the play was over. That was a horrible call on the ref side. I don't know what they're thinking.
Yes, he was hit far out of bounds. Wow, you do not see that not being called too often. And Isaiah Johnson is, of course, angry about it, and I would be angry about it too.
Definitely a first down, but that should have been a lot more than that. That should have been a first down by 15 yards. Nonetheless, the Raiders, 2 minutes and 43 seconds left on the clock here. Hands it off to Johnson. It's a quarterback keeper. Cato under pressure, but he's going to be rolling out to the far sideline. Is he going to have any space? And wow, a big hit laid out. And there's going to be a flag on the field.
Wow, this crowd is pumped up right now from that hit not being called on Isaiah Johnson. It seemed like they came back and laid even bigger hit.
And down on the field is number 12, Elijah Russell. He was absolutely laid out, I believe, by Emmanuel Osachukwu on that play. But they're going to call a flag on the field. We'll have to get the rule book out here. Must have been hitting I don't even know what he would consider it on, a legal block in the back or something.
It didn't even look like it was in the back. Yeah, he just kind of went for the wide receiver. The only thing that I could think of would be targeting. But
possibly targeting penalty.
Yeah, because he went straight for that block. But, I mean, it would have been a great block. There was a missed call on that last play with Isaiah Johnson. But, I mean, it was a nice block because Cato was able to get some good yards out of it after that pass.
In targeting. Wow.
Half the distance to the goal as well.
That's a huge penalty against the Raiders there. Targeting is always tough, though, because it depends on whether or not they drop the crown of their helmet.
Yes.
And if he really did hit him with intent on the crown, that would be considered a penalty, and I can understand why. But as far as I know, I mean, he hit him with his shoulder pad. I don't know if he hit him with his helmet, he probably would have been injured himself, to be honest. So it's hard. That's a tough call to make if you're the referee. But 1st and 30.
And especially with E-Man, he's 6'3", 175 pounds. If he hit a guy going that fast with his helmet, like you said, he would have probably been knocked out on the spot.
He probably would have injured himself, that's why I think that was a very big missed call from the referees. They should have waited to pull the flag out of their pocket and seen what had actually happened. Cato rolling out towards the near sideline. He's going to be pursued, and he's going to throw and hit Covey. Covey is going to be pursued once. He's going to break one tackle, break two, but he's going to be slide and brought down behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of yards on the play. 2 minutes even on the clock. Second and now really long.
Brooks on the tackle for the Renegades.
This does not spell good news for the Raiders.
Yes, this does not. Another timeout by the Raiders, but still with just under 2 minutes left. There still is a drive that can be managed by this team.
You can put together a drive here, but you have to be looking far downfield, and that's the point is at this point, you have no time to mess up. You have currently 3 downs to try and secure the ball downfield. Field goal does not tie it, and you have to make the long passes. It's always tough, though, because, now you don't have the opportunity to just check down yards and we're on a 2-minute drill. You have to get down the field 40, 30 yards. And now it's a really big hole that your offense is going to have to climb out of no matter how good you are. It's still a tough situation inside of the 10-yard line.
Yes, we got to see some of those big throws like we saw in the third quarter, that big deep ball to Emmanuel Osachukwu. We had to see some of those throws coming up, and we do see E-Man spread out on the opposite side.
So at the far sideline, Emmanuel Osachukwu, you have Ryan Wilmore on the near sideline. We'll see if he gets targeted. You have almost all the DBs stepping back right now. There's no pressure on the inside, possibly giving a chance for Isaiah Johnson to run the ball, but Cato's going to choose to throw it. He's going to be facing some pressure. Steps up in the pocket. Is he going to hit? And he does. And they're going to consider it a catch. That was number 10 for the Raiders. Excuse me, I don't even know who had the ball on that play. Did you see who had the ball? I mean,
that was a nice catch. It looked like it was number 12, Trenton. No,
it couldn't have been.
Excuse me, number 19.
19.
Yeah.
Cade Schmitz. Gosh, I haven't even called his name at all tonight. So the Raiders now 1st and 10. 1 minute and 41 seconds left on the clock. Cato Brown takes snap back, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson finding a lane. He's going to be hit. He's going to spin around. He's going to be hit once again, and he's brought down inside the 25. And he wasn't done yet. He's inside the 20.
This place is booming right now.
The Raiders here at home. It's 20-27. They're inside the 20. It's 1 minute and 26 seconds.
These fans are loyal right now in the rain and still cheering their team on. They really want them to pull out a win, 20-27. Wow, marching down the field inside the red zone.
Cato Brown puts Covey in motion, fakes the handoff to Johnson. Cato up the center. He's still pushing. He's down to inside the 10-yard line. It's almost a first down. 1 minute and 3 seconds. The clock continues to run.
Now these players feel it right now. When you're in this position, these players are filling the crowd.
This is the homecoming atmosphere we're looking for. Hands it off to Johnson. Johnson up the center. He's down to the 2-yard line. It's a first down. We're stopping the clock, and the chains are moving forward. It's 1st and goal.
That is a first down, 1st and goal for the Raiders.
They're just on the cusp of tasting the sweet nectar of the end zone. And Bakersfield calls a timeout. This is an incredible atmosphere. What can you say? It's Griffin Stadium. It's 3C2A action. It's football on Saturday night. The Raiders are driving down the field. It's a one-score ball game, ladies and gentlemen. And Cato Brown, Isaiah Johnson, Ryan Wilmore, Emmanuel Osachukwu, Corbin Covey, Cade Schmitz doing work on offense in this game. Cade with the huge grab late here in the fourth quarter. 46 seconds left on the clock.
And going back to that big pass play to Cade Schmitz, Cade and Ryan Wilmore actually bumped into each other before they caught the ball. Both of them were able to put a double move on their cornerbacks and run down the field. They almost had streak routes. They basically had the same route, but they ran into each other and they were still able to catch the ball.
The Raiders so close. Ball on the 2nd-yard line. The Renegades defense is looking exhausted onto the field. I don't think they walked into this matchup thinking they had this close of a football game. And this fourth quarter is starting to wear down on them. The downhill running action of Isaiah Johnson, the hands of Ryan Wilmore, and Cato out of shotgun, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson in the pile. Is the pile going to push forward? Do they call it? It's on the 1-yard line. 39 seconds left on the clock.
Clock is still running.
Are they going to call it? They're going to be forced to call a timeout at this point. I don't even know if the referees know what's going on, but it's 27 seconds. You have to call a timeout at this point.
They're going for it.
21 seconds left on the clock. We'll see what goes on. And they hand it off to Johnson. It's a quarterback keeper. And it's Cato Brown in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Raiders. Cato's first chance. He saw it. He's the leader of this offense, and he took it. Taste the sweet nectar of the end zone. And the Raiders pull within 1 point. It's up to Gavin Todd to tie the game up here late in the fourth quarter. 16.4 seconds left on the clock. No timeout called. The Raiders still have their single timeout. The kick is up, and it's good. The Raiders tie the game up with 16.4 seconds left on the clock. Holy cow.
Second rushing touchdown of the game for Cato Brown. He's putting his body on the line, getting them to a tie game. And yes, under 20 seconds, only 16 seconds left. This is some big time action.
It's the Raiders offense, and the Raiders consistently trying to put the ball into the end zone. 27-27, 16 seconds left on the clock.
Like you were mentioning, Bakersfield did not know what they were coming in here for. They did not know that this was going to be a tied game with how probably the scouting report has put the Raiders this season, but the Raiders have showed them why they are still a good team, while they're still a good quality team that could tie them up in the fourth.
The Raiders always on the cusp of doing something great, and you finally get to see it here in Griffin Stadium tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Every game it seems like they've gotten better in some certain facet of the game. And the ball is going to be kicked up, and it's Tomlin with the with the ball, and he's going to try and find a lane, and he's going to be brought down at the 35. 9 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter. This one is close. They're going to have one chance. One chance to basically play the ball here. You can only think they're going to be putting it in the hands of their number one receiver, Derek Vickers.
This Raiders defense have to go into a cover 3-man defense if they want to stop them from this Hail Mary.
And look at all the safeties out there.
Yes, all the safeties are back there ready to go.
And it's going to be in a very odd-looking formation here from the Renegades.
They're going to overtime.
They're going to go to overtime. They're going to choose to run the clock out and not even risk it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unprecedented for our broadcast this year. We saw it happen against Cerritos last year when Cato Brown scored a touchdown late in overtime. We saw it happen, I believe, early on in the season as well. But this year, we have not seen it once. And the Raiders are now playing in a game where they have a chance to put themselves on top here. Here's a quick rundown of the fifth quarter, or overtime rules if you don't know already. It's sudden death. The first team to score a touchdown wins the game. If the first team with the ball kicks a field goal, the other team has a chance to put a score on the board. If it is tied up after the first two possessions, it's first score, sudden death. If that makes any sense. So the captains are going to get together, and they're going to walk to the center of the field to discuss with the referees what the rules are.
This is what these players live for, this moment, trying to win this game, and it's a homecoming game as well in front of their home crowd. This is what they live for. They have not won one game at home this year. Both of their home games they have lost, so this will be their first home victory if they are able to come out with this one. And it seems like this crowd is also pumped up, ready to go for this overtime period, seeing their team march down scoring with just 16 seconds left.
It's raining. It's California. Last night was a full moon. Weird things are happening here in Griffin Stadium. And it's only understandable because it's Raider football. The Raiders have shown their depth and strength so far this season. And they really want this win here. I don't think there's any other team who has grinded harder, who wants this any more than the Raiders. And their team captains, James Perryman, Isaiah Johnson, Brett Heron, Cato Brown. In order, they were linking arms, but now they have broken the link, and we'll see what happens here.
If you saw before they broke the link, they actually had their whole entire team, the Raiders, behind the captains, almost in a mosh pit type form, just chanting and making sure that they get pumped up and the fans get pumped up for this overtime period.
And we're going to head down really quick to our on-field reporter, Nathan Espinoza. Nathan,
what's going on, Emery?
Nathan, what is the atmosphere like here on the sideline, obviously with the late score and now overtime?
Oh, my, it's overwhelming down here. The team is riled up. The cheerleaders are riled up. The fans are lined up on the rail up front. Everybody's standing in the crowd. We're moving into overtime. What really made that turning point was Cade Schmidt's saving catch as him and Ryan Wilmore were mixing up on that sideline right there, right at the line to make the get down the field, forcing Cato to score the touchdown. As soon as Cato scored that touchdown, this whole team, their entire vibe has completely changed down here. It's like the start of the game all over again.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to watch this team start down. You know, they're starting down, and now all of a sudden they're back in this game.
Absolutely. There's no problem with starting down as long as you fight back and you get yourself into this. The Raiders are now in this game. It's going to go to overtime, what we're figuring out right now. Raiders need to score a touchdown to end this game here. This is the first conference play of the season for both teams. Neither of these guys want to walk out of here with the conference loss.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nathan. We'll keep you up to date here on the sideline. Thank you so much, Nathan.
You got it, guys.
So there you go. You heard from Nathan. We'll see what the decision was. The coin toss. We'll be figuring who gets the ball. And it looks like the Raiders are going to take the field first. And in college rules, they get the ball on the 25, so there's no special teams.
Yeah, it's basically just like
All right, fans,
they just get a shot right there, almost in red zone territory, seeing if they could score.
You essentially have 3 chances to get a first down.
Yep.
And it's up to your ability to get the touchdown. And if you do, the game's over. If you don't, that's it. The other team gets the ball and starts over at the 25. So Cato's going to be playing out of the pistol set. That's where they've been all night long. Takes a snap back, and they hand it off to Isaiah Johnson, who's been the true runner all night long, but he's going to be stopped up and hit behind the line of scrimmage. He's down to the 28-yard line.
Number 28, Matthew Hubble, was in for the stop, and he read that play the whole time. He read it all the way through. He is actually a safety, but he was able to run straight through that offensive line and just burst through into Isaiah Johnson and bring him down.
Cato Brown now out of shotgun. He's going to have 2 receivers to his left, sends one in motion. It's going to be Ray Thomas. But it looks like there's going to be a flag on the play and a false start for the Raiders.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 70 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, second out.
So it's going to be a 5-yard penalty, now sending the ball way back for the Raiders. Now going to be 2nd and 15.
Yeah, 2nd and 15 at the 30.
Not like that matters in this game for the Raiders. Cato out of the gun once again. Puts Thomas in motion. And he's going to be immediately under pressure. Cato fires towards the end zone. And it's going to be tipped off the hands of the corners and safeties, and it's going to be an incomplete pass, 3rd down and long.
They were looking for that big play, Emmanuel Osachukwu in the end zone. It was thrown in a triple coverage, though, but of course, 6'3", 175 pounds. He still has a chance no matter how many people are covering him.
Does have a vertical over a lot of players.
All right, Raider fans, 3rd and 15 for the guys on the field.
Cato Brown. It's his chance here. There's going to be a timeout called.
Moorpark College.
They choose to take the timeout, so we're going to go ahead and talk about some of our sponsors tonight. Tonight's game has been brought to you in part by Chewy's of Simi Valley. Good ambiance. It doesn't get much better than that. Wood Ranch, make the right call. We cater fun parties. Custom Pie, serving up delicious wood-baked pizzas. And finally, Denny's. Welcome to America's Diner. So the Raiders with a huge third down situation here. It works out because you get 4 downs out of this. You can choose to kick a field goal. You could also go for it. But nonetheless, it always offsets and sets the ball back onto the 25-yard line.
Yes.
And your defense does have to come onto the field if you do make an incompletion. Though, if you kick a field goal, they have to kick a field goal. They're forced to score, and if they don't score, you win. And they hand it off to Isaiah Johnson. That wasn't being looked as a huge play for the Raiders, at least by the defense. The defensive minds did not assume that was going to be the play, and it's going to be the special teams coming onto the field. They're going to kick a field goal and force the Renegades to have to kick a field goal here.
Yes, and if Isaiah Johnson was able to break another tackle, he had Emmanuel Osachukwu with a good block. E-Man has been blocking everybody tonight.
Gavin Todd with possibly one of the biggest kicks of his life here. And the kick is up, and it is good. So the Raiders force the Renegades to have to score on this next possession. So as special as this sounds, the Raiders defense, which has been on fire in the second half, has a chance to shut out and close the game.
Yes. They need to have some good defensive stops. James Perriman, Jordan Flack need to come up with some big plays. They need to have that quarterback containment and rush in.
So here's where you might hear the fans and the crowd start to get into this game. It's Gallus. He's going to have Hill. He's going to have Vickers. He's going to have Tomlin. What is their offense going to bring to the table here? And they're going to run it to Hill. He's going to be in the pile, and he's going to be brought down. It's a gain of 1 on the play, 2nd and 9.
Watkins for the Raiders on the stoppage brings up a 2nd and 10.
And the Raiders sideline calling for the crowd to get into this one. They're going to play out of the gun, 2 backs beside the quarterback. He's going to have Vickers on the side. It's a passing play, looking for that pass protection. It's intercepted! That's it! If he just gets down to the ground, the game is over, and the Raiders win it in overtime! Holy cow! We were calling it from the beginning. Dalton Gallus, he has thrown so many interceptions so far this season, and he has yet to throw one in this game, and it happens when they need it most. The Raiders win! The Raiders win in overtime! There it is, folks! Ladies and gentlemen, the Raiders win 30-27. They're the first conference game. They win it here. Ladies and gentlemen, the Raiders 30, Renegades 27. We're going to send it to the studio after a commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Ketchum. We'll see you in a few moments.
stay off the field, please. Allow the football players to come to you. Please stay off.
A firefighter's duty. Fighting fires, rescuing citizens, performing copious kettlebell exercises, demands a daring degree of readiness. A degree of readiness achieved, eating fulfillingly flavorful Firehouse subs. With premium carved meats and cheeses steamed to tasty magnificence, then piled onto toasted rolls. Is your footwear connected to your pants? No, it's not, because you're not a firefighter. But you can be ready like one. Firehouse subs, the hero of all subs.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Let us celebrate innovations that propel our species forward. The crescent wrench, the chainsaw, the labradoodle, and steam. Steam harnessed to liberate the flavor of premium carved turkey and cheddar cheese before a culinary coronation of peppercorn ranch and pepper bacon. Give a man meat, and he can make you a sandwich. Teach a man to use a steamer, and he can make you a sub fit for a firefighter. Firehouse Subs, the hero of all subs. An abridged hierarchy of man's needs. Clothing, shelter, duct tape, and beef. But not just any beef. Beef that meets Firehouse Subs' stubborn standards for unfettered flavor. Smoked in a smokehouse for no fewer than 16 hours. Then married to cheddar and steamed to unparalleled palatability. It's a man's needs reinterpreted by a man's man. A fireman. Recharged and ready to roll. Firehouse Subs, the hero of all
Welcome
subs.
to the Raider Locker Room Report. It's the fifth quarter locker room report, and rightly so, because we went into overtime tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, I haven't been quite hyped up for a game like that in quite a long time. This is brought to you in part by UCLA Health. It starts with you. So I just want to bring up the fact, Jesse Landman with the final pick. But how about, let's just talk about our offensive weapons here for a second, because this is how I want to start off. This is what propelled the Raiders to this victory. It started with Cato Brown, Isaiah Johnson, working the ground game. Then it went to Emmanuel Osachukwu, then it was Ryan Wilmore. Cade Schmitz and Corbin Covey. Fill me in.
The ball was everywhere tonight. I'll tell you that. Cato was very good tonight at putting the ball everywhere on the field, whether he was getting it to Corbin, whether he was getting it over to Wilmore, whether he was just handing it off to Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah Johnson was really beastly tonight. All over the field, very violent and running. Every time you see him, he would fight for that extra yard or so like that. And unnoticed, he was actually the one who pushed that nice 7-yard rush toward the end to set up Gavin Todd for the field goal that won us the game ultimately.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, though, ball was great tonight. Real defensive battle from both teams. Neither team had an incredibly offensive game, but both teams had a great defensive game.
Yeah, what did you notice on defense here, Ryan? Because that's what you were watching as in color commentating tonight. You were watching a lot on the defense. What did you see?
A big defense play, of course, we mentioned Jesse Landman coming up with that interception. But just the whole entire game, the defensive line, they were playing great. And they would stack the box. They were always stacking the box. They were always putting about 8 people right up in there to be able to, because, of course, Bakersfield had a big running attack. So they were able to keep them, especially in the second half, down to even less yards. They were basically holding them to about 2 or 3 yard gains on the rush. So that big rushing defense, that was huge this game. And we saw in the last play before Jesse Landman had that interception, they actually stopped Hill for just about a 1 yard gain.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm going to say one thing. I wish we had replay so we could rewatch the catch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when I say the catch, you all at home should know exactly what I'm talking about. It was Ryan Wilmore with the one hand extended out, catches it on the fly, and it was an absolute bullet pass from Cato Brown.
Should have been a first down as well. Was marked short of the first down. We won't bring that up, but we're going to give credit to Ryan Wilmore on that catch. Again, with catches, we had incredible catches tonight from Cade Schmidt as well.
Oh, yeah.
Saving catch to really put, if Cade doesn't make that catch, we're probably not talking right here. It really saved the Raiders. About a 35-yard pass down the field. Kind of a little mix-up between him and Ryan Wilmore. Long as the ball was completed and they got down the field, which moved on to Cato Brown being able to rush in a scoring touchdown to tie the game up, forcing us into overtime. Ultimately, both teams just did a fantastic job today.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our Raider Locker Room 5th quarter report. I'm Emery Johnson alongside Ryan Ketchum and Nathan Espinoza. This has been brought to you in part by UCLA Health. It begins with you, and we'll see you next week with Raider football. Good night, everybody.